Welcome to Old Time Radio, 13 April 2025. We have another crowded schedule. Let's start with Father Knows Best, then Jungle Jim, Life with Riley, Planet Man, The Marriage, Moon Over Africa, if I got this right, Ports of Call, and Quiet Please, and a surprise or two. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Today we announce Bob and Ray final clearance, a closeout, absolute clearance sale.
We are being forced to vacate our premises. Our lease has been foreclosed.
Our landlord says we must go, and his ultimatum is your good luck.
Now, we have to get rid of every last piece of our tremendous stock at ridiculous sacrifice.
Now, because we must go, you can buy men's two-pant suits for $16.50. Men's three-pant suits for $17.50. And men's four-pant suits for $18.59.
And men's all-pant suits for $19.50. Now, you can get men's complete winter overcoats at $22.50 and men's winter overcoats without sleeves for $17.50.
Our lease is up, and you get the benefit. Men's winter underwear with long legs and long sleeves for $1.75. An extra pair of legs for only 38 cents.
Yes, the landlord says vacate, and that's it. What?
Us?
Hello? Yes. What? We can? Darn it.
What's the matter?
The landlord says we can stay another year.
Oh.
Mother, is Maxwell House really the only coffee in the world?
Well, your father says so, and your father knows best.
Yes, it's Father Knows Best, transcribed in Hollywood, starring Robert Young as father. A half-hour visit with your neighbors, the Andersons, brought to you by Maxwell House, the coffee that's bought and enjoyed by more people than any other brand of coffee at any price. Maxwell House, always good to the last drop. You know, there are times when the poets come up with some pretty silly ideas. John Greenleaf Whittier wrote, for example, "What moistens the lip and what brightens the eye? What calls back the past like the rich pumpkin pie?" Well, in Springfield, in the white frame house on Maple Street, the Andersons have a very definite answer for him, and it has nothing to do with pumpkin pie. Like this.
Frankly, Margaret, I think the whole idea is ridiculous.
But, Jim, after all, I had to be pleasant, and he's only going to be in town for a few days.
He sounded cute on the telephone.
Kathy, be quiet and drink your milk.
Gee whiz.
He hasn't been in Springfield for almost 20 years. Why does he suddenly have to come busting in and get everything all upset?
He isn't getting anything upset, dear. I merely asked him to have dinner with us tonight.
Why didn't you ask him to spend the weekend? We could have Bud sleep in the chandelier.
Jim, there's nothing wrong in asking him to dinner, is there?
Why can't he eat in a restaurant? There's nothing wrong with eating in a restaurant once in a while.
Why, Jim.
When I have business in another town, you don't see me going around mooching dinners. And I had as many old girlfriends as he ever did.
Oh, that's what it is.
Oh, you mind your own business and eat your breakfast.
The green-eyed monster rears his ugly head.
Betty, in just about 2 seconds, the brown-eyed father's going to rear his ugly hand. You understand?
Yes, Father.
And you'll eat standing up for a week.
Yes, Father.
Jim, I really think you are jealous.
Jealous? Me? I haven't got a jealous bone in my head. But I don't see any reason for inviting him to dinner.
Who, Dad?
He was nothing but a pest 20 years ago, and you were glad enough to get rid of him then.
Jim, that's not so. He was a very nice boy.
Who was, Mom?
Well, if he was so nice, why didn't you marry him?
Who, Dad?
Because I loved you and I didn't love him, that's why. But he was still a very nice boy.
Who was, Mom?
He was a big hunk of muscle, that's what he was. Didn't have a brain in his head.
Jim, you're not being fair. Charlie was just as intelligent as any boy in your class.
Charlie who, Mom?
Just because he had a raccoon coat and a couple of silly letters on his sweater. So help me, Margaret, I can't understand what you were thinking of when you invited him to dinner.
Who, Dad?
Bud, don't you ever shut up?
Well, holy cow. Can I even know who you're talking about?
No.
Holy cow.
Eat your breakfast and be quiet.
I know who they're talking about.
Kathy, behave yourself or go up to bed.
I just got up.
Well, behave yourself.
Yes, Daddy.
And sit still.
Yes, Daddy.
Man tries to have a peaceful breakfast with his family, and what happens? Nothing but noise and excitement and confusion.
Jim, you're making a fuss over absolutely nothing.
I'm not making a fuss, and it isn't absolutely nothing. How would you like it if I dragged all my old girlfriends in for a dinner?
But, Jim, Charlie Warren is a happily married man.
Charlie Warren? You mean the Charlie Warren who played football for Springfield?
Yes, dear.
Big thing. The man runs around with a silly hunk of leather under his arm.
But Charlie Warren, Dad. Holy cow.
Who's Charlie Warren?
Who's Charlie Warren? You might just as well say, who's Red Grange?
All right, who's Red Grange?
Betty, it only happens that Charlie Warren is the greatest athlete in the history of Springfield, that's all.
Oh, that. The way you said it, I thought he was somebody important.
Would you care for some more toast, Betty?
No, thank you, Father.
Boy, just wait till I tell the fellas. Charlie Warren in my house.
Bud, if you'll take up a collection, maybe we can build a shrine.
Jim.
Make this place a national monument. Charlie Warren ate here.
Jim, I certainly hope you're going to be civil to the man.
Oh, I'll be civil, all right. I'll be so civil he won't know I'm around.
Well, I don't think that's necessary.
Matter of fact, I won't even be around. I'll be in the den working on my income tax return with Hector. And I hope you and Charlie have a lovely time.
Jim Anderson, you can't work on your income tax tonight. You just can't.
Would you like to make a small wager?
But, Jim, Charlie Warren is our guest.
He's your guest, my pet. If you want to clutter up the house with your old boyfriends, go right ahead. I'm still going to work on my income tax.
Jim, won't you please be sensible? I've already invited Charlie. I can't break the date now.
Well, Hector's going out of town in the morning, and this is the last chance he has to help me with my tax return. And for your information, Charlie Warren runs a very poor second to my income tax. Now, if you'll be so good as to pour me a cup of coffee.
Jim, if you really loved me...
Oh, that's fine. That's just wonderful. Twist the whole thing around so it's my fault.
I didn't say it was your fault, dear. All I said was...
May I please have my coffee?
Of course, dear.
Thank you.
Jim, don't you think just this once...
Margaret, this is your house. I bought it, furnished it, worked my fool head off to get it. But it's your home, and if you want boyfriends running in and out of the hallways...
Jim, you're being very unkind. Charlie Warren was your friend, too.
My friend?
Well, you certainly spend enough time with him.
I had to. If I wanted to see you, I had to see him, too, didn't I? I saw enough of him to last me a lifetime. Him and his big, fat football.
Now you're being childish. Charlie was just as much your friend as he was mine.
Oh, he was he? I suppose he asked me to marry him.
Well, no, but...
Mom, you mean Charlie Warren asked you to marry him?
Well, yes, Bud, he did.
And you turned him down? Holy cow, Mom. If you could have married Charlie Warren... Oh.
You, were about to say something? James Anderson Jr.?
Well, boy, it's sure hot in here, isn't it?
Football players. What's so wonderful about being a football player? Doesn't take any brains to be a football player. Kick a ball, jump on somebody's neck. Don't even know which way they're running half the time.
Hiya, Jim. What you doing? Counting your money?
Oh, hello, Heck. Sit down.
Oh, I've already had lunch.
Well, sit down anyway.
What's the matter? Something wrong? Maybe we'd better not work on your tax return tonight. That isn't going to make you feel any better, you know.
Heck, do you remember Charlie Warren?
Charlie Oh, you mean Big Charlie, the flapper's favorite?
Flapper's favorite.
Oh, gosh, I haven't seen him in, must be 20 years. Why, what about him?
He's in town.
He is? Well, what do you know? What's he doing here?
Eating at my house.
Yeah, that's right. He was a friend of yours, wasn't he?
He was not.
Well, when you and Margaret were... Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Big football phony. Comes into town, gets everybody all excited.
Giving you a bad time around the house.
Oh, you ought to heard him. Bud can't even figure out why his mother married me.
That makes it nice.
Yeah, just fine.
Well, I guess we'd better forget about that income tax session tonight, huh?
I guess so. Probably have to sit around all night hearing him yap about football. Makes me sick to think of it.
You know, Jim, I just been figuring if we don't make it tonight, I'm stuck.
We can do it over the weekend, can't we?
Well, I won't be back until Tuesday, and that's the 14th. I'll be up to my ears. Maybe you better get somebody else. Unless...
Unless what?
Well, I was just thinking, you know, we could fix this guy, Charlie, but good.
Oh? How do you mean?
Well, I come over tonight, and we give it a big build-up. You know, I'm your tax counselor, take care of all your major investments, stuff like that, big business.
Oh, I don't know, Hank.
Why not? We don't have to prove anything.
I know,
It won't be as though you're doing the bragging. You're very modest about it. You even try to stop me a couple of times.
I do, huh?
Oh, sure. You're very embarrassed. You don't like the whole idea. But do I stop? I do not. I keep right on going. I lay it on thick.
Even though I try to stop you?
Sure. Charlie Warren thinks he's a big shot, huh? Well, we fix him. Anything he's got, you've got twice as many. Anything he's done, you've done twice as much. When I get through, I guarantee you'll sound like a combination of John D. Rockefeller and Fort Knox.
You couldn't run in a little Ben Hogan or Sammy Sneed, could you?
Jim, you're the greatest golfer since Bobby Jones.
Yeah, a guy comes around, tries to bust up a happy home. Serve him right, wouldn't it?
Certainly would.
Well, no, heck, it wouldn't be right.
Okay, if you'd rather sit around and listen to him brag.
Well, maybe if I... You think he will, huh?
Jim, you don't know what they're like. When Charlie Warren gets through talking, you'll be lucky if you don't wind up living in the garage. I know, I've been through it.
You have, huh?
Sure. With me, it was a polo player.
Pretty rough, huh?
I had to buy Elizabeth a fur coat before she'd even let me in the house.
I don't know. A man tries to live an honest, decent life, and what happens? Just because he wasn't a football player, he doesn't amount to anything. Everybody's ashamed of him.
How's about it, Jim? Do we give him the business?
Well, all right, let's do it.
Okay.
We'll teach him a lesson, won't we?
You said it.
Stick his nose in where it doesn't belong. Say, heck, I don't know if Charlie was in the service, but, well, if you'd like to put in a little General MacArthur...
Okay, General. Anchors away.
Well, Father's planning to get a lot of pleasure out of showing up Charlie Warren. Maybe he will, and maybe he won't. You just can't tell about some things. Other things, though, you can count on for a world of pleasure every time.
Coffee is one of them. Truly good coffee, I mean, like Maxwell House, with all that wonderful good to the last drop flavor. Morning, noon, and night, that famous flavor means so much more real enjoyment. It really pays to remember Maxwell House is true economy. Yes, it pays to remember that in these days of higher prices. And a neighbor of ours could tell you why. The other day, she bought a cheaper coffee, thought it would be more economical. But the first time she served it, it tasted weak somehow. So she started adding more and more to the pot. But the flavor she expected just wasn't there, and cup after cup was left unfinished. That opened my eyes to something, she said. Maxwell House is true economy. Sure it is, because every pound gives you so many more truly good cups of coffee. Just see how much more you enjoy that wonderful, good to the last drop flavor. The clear, rich taste, the roaster fresh goodness vacuum-packed in that familiar blue tin. You'll know Maxwell House is true economy. Yes, for your money's worth and more, get Maxwell House coffee. Always good to the last drop.
It's dinner time in the White Frame House on Maple Street. The roast beef was wonderful. The cake was delicious. The coffee is sensational. And, strangely enough, the conversation isn't quite as belligerent as we thought it might be. Like this.
How about another cup of coffee, Charlie?
Well, thank you, Jim. That'll be fine.
There you are.
Thank you, Margaret.
Oh, holy cow, Mr. Warren. There certainly must be one football game you remember.
Well, that was a long time ago.
But if Mr. Warren doesn't want to talk about football, why don't you stop bothering him?
But holy cow, Dad.
It isn't that I don't want to talk about it, Bud. It's just that, well, I haven't seen your mother and father in over 20 years. We've got a lot of other things to talk about, much more interesting things.
Holy cow.
Bud just can't get it into his head that there is anything more interesting than football. I can't either.
Well, that's a fairly common thing when you're young. I used to feel the same way myself. Remember, Jim?
Yes, I certainly do.
My whole life was wrapped up in football. I ate, drank, and slept football. Silliest character in Springfield.
Mr. Warren, you weren't.
Bud, will you please stop arguing? If Mr. Warren says... Well, eat your cake and be quiet.
Holy cow.
You'll notice, Charlie, that Bud doesn't have anything to do with plain, ordinary cows. Just the holy ones.
Yes, I've noticed.
Oh, it's too bad Mrs. Warren couldn't make the trip with you, Charlie.
Well, maybe the next time. Say, Jim, do you remember the night the old high school burned down?
Oh, do I? I celebrated for 3 weeks.
Jim.
Well, what I mean is, Charlie, remember how the principal, what was his name?
Baker, wasn't it?
No, it was something like that, though. Baker, Baylor.
That was it. Old man Baylor.
Yeah. Remember how he came flying down the street in his nightshirt?
And all you could see were those long, skinny legs?
Yeah.
You mean that's better than football?
Bud, please be quiet.
And don't say holy cow.
Well, what can I say?
Nothing.
Gee whiz.
We'll talk about football the next time, Bud. How'll that be?
Okay.
I don't know what gets into that boy. I swear I don't.
Well, he's just a boy, Jim. Of course, I don't have any children, so...
Don't you even have a little girl?
No, Kathy, not even a little girl.
Not even one?
Not even one.
Gee, that's awful.
Kathy.
Well, she's right, Jim. It is awful. I'd give anything for a family.
Well, Charlie, make me a reasonable offer and you can have mine.
Father.
It's all right, Betty. I know what he means. And I know what you mean to him. Yes, sir. Wonderful wife, wonderful home, 3 wonderful children. You're a lucky man, Jim.
Well, you won't get any argument out of me on that.
I didn't think I would. Well, we sure used to have some pips, didn't we, Margaret?
Oh, long into the night, hour after hour. And if you want to know the real honest-to-goodness truth, Charlie, I married Jim just to stop the two of you from talking.
Mommy, you did?
Kathy, be quiet. That was a joke.
It was?
Yes, those were the good old days, weren't they, Jim?
Yes, sir, they certainly were.
I sure wish we could have them back. I know one guy who'd do things a lot differently.
Oh, I don't know, Charlie. You led a pretty exciting life in school.
Sure, big Charlie Warren, the campus idol. I didn't even know what time it was.
You didn't? Gee, I'm only 9 and I do.
Kathy.
Kathy, will you please be quiet?
I didn't say anything.
What I meant, Kathy, was that I had some pretty strange ideas about what was important and what wasn't. I just couldn't think of anything but football.
Well, gosh, what's wrong with that? Don't you like football?
Oh, it's all right, Bud, but not if you build your whole life around it. No, I'd have been a lot better off if I'd taken your dad's advice.
You would?
Well, Mr. Warren doesn't mean that...
Oh, it's true, Jim. Well, you're one of the most successful young executives in Springfield. That means more than a bunch of newspaper clippings and a couple of gold footballs.
Jim, your mouth's open.
Oh, well, how long are you going to be in Springfield, Charlie?
Just a few days, Jim.
Well, you know, it's sort of silly, you staying downtown at the hotel. Why don't you move your things out here? You can take Bud's room.
Why, Jim.
No, I don't think so, Jim. Where would Bud sleep? In the chandelier?
We'd find a place for him.
I'll answer it, Dad.
Good grief, I forgot all about Hector Smith.
Excuse me, Mr. Warren.
Sure, go right ahead, Bud.
Charlie, you remember Hector Smith, don't you?
Hector Smith? You mean the mathematical genius?
That's the one.
Well, sure I remember him. Good old Heck.
Well, he's supposed to help me with my income tax tonight, but...
Well, go right ahead, Jim. After all, I run a pretty poor second to an income tax.
Well, Charlie Warren, you old son of a gun.
Hector Smith, well, for gosh sakes.
Well, how are you, Charlie? You haven't changed a bit.
Oh, go on. I put on over 40 pounds.
40? Oh, you're kidding.
Good evening, Hector.
Oh, hello, Margaret. Hi, girls.
Hello, Mr. Smith.
Hi.
We were just having our coffee, Heck. How about a cup for you?
Well, you talked me into it.
Hector, about that thing we were talking about.
Oh, sure. What do you think of Jim, Charlie? He's done all right, huh?
Hector.
I was just telling him, Heck, he's made a wonderful place for himself in the world.
You think so, huh? Well, you don't know the half of it.
Hector.
Now, isn't that just like him? Modest as the day is long. Can't stand to have people talk about his success.
Hector, will you forget about the whole thing, please?
Well, you don't have to tell me about it, Heck. I'm as proud of him as you are.
Then you ought to know the whole story. You've got no idea how successful he really is.
Hector, please.
Look at him, he's blushing. And I don't blame him, a man who makes the kind of money he does.
Hector, Charlie doesn't care anything about that.
Well, sure he does, don't you, Charlie?
Why, of course.
You know, if Jim didn't have me to fix up his income tax return, why, he'd be paying for the last war all by himself.
Father, would you really?
Oh, Hector's exaggerating a little, Charlie. You know the way he is.
Oh, now wait just a minute, Jim. You know, those little corners I cut, why, they save you a fortune. Nothing exactly crooked, you know. Just shave a little here and shave a little there.
Throw in a haircut every once in a while.
Hector, please.
Charlie, you may not believe this, but the money Jim makes on the golf course alone would take care of both of our salaries.
Oh, no.
Well, as long as he declares it on his income tax return.
That's what I mean. He'd like to, but why should he? Who knows about the $10,000 or $20,000 he picks up?
Why, Jim.
Margaret, don't listen to him. You know the way I play golf.
Yeah, you ought to see him, Charlie. It's a joke. You know, if he wanted to, he could beat Sammy Hogan every day of the week.
You mean Sammy Sneed?
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah. But he's too smart for that. He keeps just far enough ahead, sort of leads them on, and then when they're ripe for a big bet, wham, he hits them with the works.
For $20,000, huh?
Oh, that's nothing.
Hector, this is ridiculous. Will you please stop it?
You see that car he's got outside?
Mm-hmm.
Just keeps it for sentimental reasons.
Oh.
Matter of fact, he told me just this morning he's going to buy a brand new Cadillac.
Daddy!
You know that $35,000 job they had in the magazines with the leopard skin upholstery?
Father!
And he's going to give that all heap to Bud.
Holy cow.
You know, just to run around in.
Hector, will you please drink your coffee?
Oh, hey, that's right. I forgot all about my coffee.
Charlie, you know the way Hector is. Once he gets started with figures...
Say, Charlie, did Jim tell you about the letter he got from General MacArthur?
Hector!
Daddy, did you get a letter from General MacArthur?
No, Kathy, I didn't. I don't even know General MacArthur.
How do you like that? MacArthur leans on him through the entire war, counts on him. MacArthur depends on him, tells everybody that Jim Anderson won the war for us in the Pacific. And listen to him.
Hector, I wasn't even in the Pacific. I was in Europe.
You see, won the war in Europe, too. And won't even admit it.
Charlie.
Oh, it's all right, Jim, I understand. He's proud of the fact that you fought overseas. I wish I could have been with you.
Oh, you didn't go over, huh?
No, I came up with an athletic heart.
I'm awfully sorry, Charlie. We didn't know.
Oh, wait a minute, Jim. There's nothing seriously wrong with me. I just couldn't get into active combat, that's all. I wound up pounding a desk in Washington.
Oh, well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Matter of fact, it worked out fine for me. That's where I met my wife. That's how I got my job.
Say, Charlie, what are you doing these days?
Well, I thought you knew, Hector. I'm with the government. Income Tax Division.
Now that ought to convince Hector and Father of one thing. It always pays to do some investigating before you act. Sure, it pays to know all the facts. And here's another case in point.
There's so much more pure pleasure in truly good coffee. It's important to remember this fact. Maxwell House is true economy. Yes, Maxwell House is true economy. Now, you can find cheaper coffees in the store, but will you find economy in them? Not when you add more and more coffee to the pot, yet still can't get the flavor you want. Not when coffee is so lacking in flavor your family leaves their cups unfinished. No, you can't call that economy. But Maxwell House is true economy. So many more truly good cups of coffee in every pound. Such extra richness and flavor. So good to the last drop, you drink every drop. Yes, there's real reason why more people drink Maxwell House than any other brand at any price. Maxwell House is true economy. Tomorrow, get your money's worth and more with Maxwell House coffee. Always good to the last drop.
Now it's breakfast time again in the White Frame House on Maple Street. It's a pleasant day, not too warm and not too cool. A very pleasant day indeed. For everyone but Father Thusly.
But you said the government gave you $600 on account of me, so why can't you raise my allowance?
Kathy, I didn't say they gave me $600. They allow me to deduct it from my income tax.
$600. And all I get is 35 cents a week.
What are you kicking about? 1 minute I've got a car and the next minute I haven't. After I already told Joe Phillips.
Well, you had no right to tell him, dear. You knew that Mr. Smith was only joking.
Some joke. Ha, ha, ha.
Mother, isn't Mr. Warren the sweetest man?
Yes, dear, he's very nice.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He's certainly changed.
Well, somebody has. Bud.
Never mind. I'm almost through with my breakfast.
All right, Kathy. Stop playing with your milk.
Can't I even blow bubbles?
Hello? Oh, hello, Heck. No, I was just finishing my breakfast. This afternoon? All right, let's say about 3 o'clock. Okay. Say, wait a minute, Heck. I thought you were going out of town. Oh, I see. All right, Heck. 3 o'clock. See you later.
Is there anything wrong, dear?
No, it was just Hector.
Oh, I thought he was going out of town.
He was, but, well, he's decided he'd better spend the next few days revising his own income tax.
If you like good things the easy way.
Good things the easy way.
Instant Maxwell House, that's for you. Good coffee that's easy too.
No time, no trouble.
No grounds, no pot.
And it's good to the very last. You know what?
Yes, Instant Maxwell House means great coffee instantly in your cup. Here's real instant coffee. All pure Maxwell House coffee in instant form. Enjoy Instant Maxwell House. Instantly.
Good to the very last. You know what?
Join us again next week when we'll be back with Father Knows Best, starring Robert Young as Jim Anderson, with Roy Bargy and the Maxwell House Orchestra, and yours truly, Bill Foreman. Don't forget, membership cards for the Robert Young Good Drivers Club are waiting for you at your local NBC station. Get a man-to-man or dad-to-daughter pledge and sign up today. Be a good driver. Get your membership card in the Robert Young Good Drivers Club today. Now, until next Thursday, good night and good luck from the makers of Maxwell House, America's favorite brand of coffee. Always good to the last drop. Father Knows Best was transcribed in Hollywood and written by Ed James. Now stay tuned in for Screen Guild Theater, which follows immediately over most of these stations.
It's Screen Guild Theater with A Foreign Affair, next on NBC.
Presenting the adventures of Jungle Jim. Last week's Jungle Jim was confronted by a strange young woman who held him and Patrick O'Shaughnessy Flynn at the point of a gun while she ordered Jacques Labat out of the cafe and back to her plantation. Although she gave no name nor any identification, Jim was given to understand that she was the boss of the hulking French-Canadian, and that if Jim harmed any of her men or crossed her path again, she would kill him. In the meantime, the Reverend Chalmers and the native guide reached the part of the jungle in which the mysterious ceremonies were being held. And within the sound of the terrifying tom-toms, Loki, the native, suddenly disappeared, apparently deserting the missionaries. Back at the hotel, as Jim told Lynn Chalmers he would take her to her father, Kolu came running with the news that a white man who was dying was asking for him. The thrilling adventures of Jungle Jim are pictured each Sunday in the Comic Weekly, the world's greatest pictorial supplement of humor and adventure. For Comic Weekly, each page printed in full colors is distributed everywhere as an integral part of your Hearst Sunday newspaper. Now we continue the story. Striding impatiently up and down the palm-shaded veranda of a plantation house is the strange young woman who threatened Jungle Jim in the cafe. Suddenly she stops her pacing and crashes a huge Chinese gong hanging by the door of the house.
Boy! Where are you? Come here.
Yes, Missy. Come plenty hurry.
You'd better come plenty hurry. I'll tip the hide off you.
Yes, Missy. What can you do for Missy?
Where's Labat?
No see, Missy.
He hasn't come back yet?
No see, Missy.
I wonder what he's up to now.
Missy, look, see. He's come now.
So he is. All right, boy, get out of here. I don't need you now.
Yes, Missy.
Labat!
Hey, boss. What you want, eh?
Come here, you thick-headed fool. Where have you been?
Oh, my God, I think maybe you're angry with Jacques Labat, huh?
I told you to come straight back to the plantation, didn't I?
Mais oui. That's what you say. That's what I do.
I've been waiting almost half an hour for you. What kept you?
Boss, Jacques Labat, she come quick she can.
I don't believe you. What trouble have you started now?
I no start anything, boss. I finish some business in the town, and I come straight to the plantation like you say.
I told you what you'd get if I didn't find you here when I got back.
No, boss, don't whip Jacques Labat. She don't do nothing to get whipped.
Just disobeyed my orders, that's all. I'll teach you to disobey.
Missy, Loki got news.
Oh, I'll punish you later, Labat. Go to your quarters.
All right, boss, I go.
What is it, Loki?
Missy, Loki do like you say.
Good. You brought the missionary into the bush.
Yesy.
How'd you do it?
Mission 2 on leave for Burawani. Loki go after. When get to Burawani, Loki hear Mission 2 on ask for guide. Him say want to see Mumbo Jumbo.
Splendid. So you said you'd guide him.
Yes, Missy. Loki tell Mission 2 on. Loki know.
And he fell for it.
Yes,
Loki, you're a good boy. Number one boy. Go on. What'd you do then?
Loki and Mission 2 on get in engine boat. Guide Mission 2 on long way. Loki say no can go more. We walk.
And he believed you?
Yes, Missy. Mission 2 on tie up boat. Walk in bush.
And the tom-toms, Loki. Could you hear them?
Yes, Missy. Mission 2 on hear drums. Mission 2 on think we near Mumbo Jumbo.
Then you left him, as I told you.
Yes, Missy. Loki run away into bush. Mission 2 on call. Loki no answer.
Well, I guess we've got the Reverend Manly Chalmers right where we want him.
Mission 2 on not there now.
What? Not there? What happened? Is he dead?
Oh, no, Missy. Mission 2 on not dead. He gone back, Burawani.
Back to... Loki, how did he escape?
Loki ran away Mission 2 on. No can come back. Loki watch Mission 2 on walk back to engine boat. Start back Burawani.
You're right, Loki. You couldn't let him see you after you deserted him. He'd never trust you again.
No, Missy.
So he's started back to Burawani, has he? We'll see about that.
Jungle Jim and Kolu are hurrying to the scene of the mysterious shooting.
Young fella, him shot bad, Tuan Jim.
Young fellow?
Yes, he Tuan Jim. Him got black eye. Lip all cut bad, here.
Why, that sounds like the same kid Jacques Labar beat up. Who shot him, Kolu?
Kolu, no. No fella see. Native boy find white young fella. He ask for you.
If it's the same kid, I saved him from that brute Labar, or at least I thought I did. The French-Canadian threatened to kill him.
Tuan Jim.
What?
Look, see.
What?
Mission Tuan. From engine boat.
The Reverend Chalmers. I don't know what's brought him back so soon, but it looks like he'll be needed over there.
Glory be. Oh, what's going to happen next around here, Jim?
Almost anything, I should say, Pat.
Yeah, I tell you, man ain't safe anywhere nowadays. And that's the truth.
Yeah, not to mention the kid. And that one was... Well, what are you bringing that big bottle for, Pat?
For two reasons. First, a drop of this good whiskey might revive the young lad. And second, if any trouble starts, it'll come in handy to use for a shillelagh.
I've heard that expression before, but what does it mean, Pat?
It means a club or a cudgel, and it comes from the name of a town in Ireland, Shillelagh, famous for its oak.
Mission Tuan stop boat at dock. He get out.
So he does. Come on, Pat. Kolu, let's hurry.
I'll bet my shirt that girl with the 45 or her gorilla of a French-Canadian did this, Jim.
I shouldn't be surprised, Pat. I didn't like the looks of that pair.
Labar's the ugliest specimen of a human I ever saw. And the girl is the beautifulest creature living. I tell you, Jim, with a little taming, she'd make a man a fine mate.
Stand back, everybody, please.
Reverend, it seems as though you returned in time.
Oh, hello, Jim.
Glad to see you, Reverend. This is a bit of medicine I have here.
That's very kind of you, Flynn, but I don't think it'll be needed.
How is he, Reverend? Won't he?
Too late, son. This boy is dead.
The Lord have mercy on him.
Dead. And we didn't get a chance to find out who he was.
I bet you one big fella Labat he do this, Tuan Jim.
Well, that's something we can't prove, I'm afraid. If the kid had lived until we got to him, we might have been able to have found out who did the shooting.
Does anyone know this lad?
No, Reverend. We never saw him until today.
Is there anybody to take charge of the body?
There is that. I'll see to it, Reverend. Just leave everything to Patrick O'Shaughnessy Flynn.
Very well, Flynn. Let me know when everything is prepared, and I'll read the service.
I will that, Reverend. Come on now, boys. Lend a hand here.
Kolu, help Tuan Flynn.
Yes, it's Tuan Jim.
Reverend, you come with me. I've got a surprise for you.
Meanwhile, back at the plantation, a big black seaplane circles for a landing. And comes to rest like a huge black fly on the surface of the stagnant water.
Hey, folks, how you make out?
I didn't make out. Chalmers managed to get away.
What? One man in motorboat get away from you in Halflane?
He had too much of a start on me by the time Loki got here with his report. When I flew over to Burawani, I saw him heading down the river back to his village.
You saw him? By God, Jacques Laban, let no one get away.
No, I suppose you wouldn't.
No, by God, I fix him like... anyway, I fix...
Like you almost fixed that kid. And you saw what you let yourself in for down there. You had everybody up in arms defending him. That black and blue face of yours ought to remind you of that.
That Jungle Jim, I fix him for that.
You fixed those automatic hammers at the end of your arms, Laban. I told you before, we have other ways of settling our score.
I know, but Jacques Laban, she's got her own way. Nobody get away from Jacques Laban.
The kid got away, didn't he?
Why you no land airplane and fix that missionary fella?
Because if anything happened to him after he left Burawani, the authorities would start a big investigation. We don't want anybody asking us any questions. You know that.
I know.
So our missionary is safe as long as he doesn't come this side of Burawani.
By God, you one smart fellow, boss. Things happen in jungle. Nobody to blame, eh?
Congratulations, Laban. You're beginning to show signs of having a brain in that flat skull of yours.
What we do now, boss?
Get everything ready for the ceremony. Understand?
Sure, boss. I fix.
Where's Loki?
Someplace. That fellow, she like one eel.
I'll find him. Give me that hammer. Loki! I've got some work for him to do.
Yes, Missy.
Come here, Loki. The missionary got away from us.
Yes, Missy.
But he'll be back. Now, I want you to go down to Burawani and watch for him.
Yes, Missy.
See that he gets one of our boys to guide him when he comes back.
Yes, Missy. Loki do.
And tell your brothers to sound the call. Mumbo Jumbo at the same place tonight.
Back at the hotel, Jungle Jim has brought the missionary and his daughter together.
Well, I hardly expected to see you so soon, my dear. I'm glad to see you.
Jim was going to take me to you if you hadn't returned, Father. I don't know whether I'm glad or sorry you came back.
Well, you'd better be glad, young lady. The jungle is no place for a girl like you.
Jim is right, Lynn. It's a good thing I got back before you started. You might never have found me.
Oh, I never thought of that. What a terrible experience you must have had.
I told you Colo and I had better go alone with you, Ribbon.
Yes, you did, Jim. But I gave you reasons for my going alone, and they still stand.
I don't know what your reasons are, Father, but you're not going alone the next time.
That's right, Lynn. I'm going with him whether he gives me permission or not.
And so am I.
I like your spirit, daughter, but I must exercise parental authority and say no.
You said I wasn't to follow you out here when I finished school. But here I am.
Yes, I know, but that was your mother doing. She wanted you with her, and that's where you're going, to join her in Singapore by the next steamer.
Is that so? Well, you just wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
When you start off into the jungle country, I'm going with you.
Oh, no.
Two heads are better than one, you know. Why, it's a miracle you got back to your motorboat after that villain of a native deserted you.
God is always watching over his servants, my dear.
Oh, Father. But you're not going to get out of my sight again.
Come in.
Is the Reverend here? Yes, here I am, Sin. Begging your pardon for interruption, but we're ready for the service now. I'll be there directly. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Just hand me my prayer book, Lynn, please.
Here it is, Father.
Thank you.
But before you leave, I want you to promise that I can go with you wherever you go.
You heard what I said, daughter. You're joining your mother in Singapore. Come on, Jim. They're waiting for us.
I'm with you, sir. Your father's right, Lynn. Better do what he says.
Where he goes, I go.
Come along, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Jim, I have no idea who killed this poor lad, but I do know that white men are dying like flies out there in the bush. And I know there's some new religion sprung up among the natives, a savage, brutal cult. I've heard they're throbbing tom-toms. As a man on the top, Jim, I must investigate.
But you also know, sir, the natives in the northern jungle are cannibals. You may be killed.
Oh, yes, I know. It's not myself I'm worrying about. It's Lynn. You heard her insist on following me wherever I go.
Well, she's foolish if she follows you this time.
She isn't going to follow me.
Why not, sir?
I know how to make sure of that.
What will happen when Jungle Jim and the Reverend Chalmers brave the unknown dangers of the backcountry to investigate the mysteries of this new jungle religion? Be sure and be with us next week for a continuation of these exciting adventures way down at the southernmost tip of Asia. And don't miss the full-color action pictures portraying the scenes you have just heard dramatized. These pictures appear in the Comic Weekly, distributed next Sunday with your Hearst newspaper. And by the way, have you become a member of the Poster Stamp Collectors Club? If not, start next Sunday by getting the Comic Weekly with your Hearst newspaper, cutting out the poster stamps and pasting them in the official album, which is available at all stores. And now, goodbye until next week, when we will be back with the continuation of the adventures of Jungle Jim.
For a beautiful smile, the life of Riley for laughs. Teal, T-E-E-L, Teal, the amazing liquid dentifrice. That's it, T-E-E-L. Teal, the amazing liquid dentifrice brings you the life of Riley with William Bendix as Riley. Remember, friends, for beautiful smiles, it's T-E-E-L, Teal. And just for laughs, it's R-I-L-E-Y, Riley, in the life of Riley. Most people believe that the pen is mightier than the sword. But Chester A. Riley believes the knife and fork are much more important. Food is one of the true loves of Riley's life. But every now and then, our hero discovers that the course of true love never runs smooth.
Junior. Oh, what's the matter, Pop? Honest, I don't know where you get your manners. That's no way to eat. Gouging the center out of a slice of bread and then nibbling the crust like a chipmunk. I'm sorry. Well, you watch me and you'll learn manners. The etiquette way is to take a slice of bread, fold it neatly in four, and then shove the whole thing in your mouth.
Remember, Junior, people shouldn't make gluttons of themselves over food.
That's right, Peg. Personally, if I didn't get hungry, I'd never touch the stuff. Slice some more bread, huh, Dumplin'?
You've had one slice, Riley. We have a new rule in this house. Only one slice to each person from now on.
Well, what about the gravy? I can't eat gravy without bread. It keeps slipping through my fork. Why all of a sudden can't I have bread?
Riley, if you read the newspapers once in a while, you'd know why.
I read the newspapers all the time. I know everything important that's going on. The news has been full of Lewis, ain't it? Well, I can tell you anything you want to know about him.
Well, all right, Smarty. Tell me one thing.
He's 2-1 to knock out Billy Conn at the Yankee Stadium.
Not Joe Lewis. John L. Lewis.
Who's he?
Oh, you're impossible. If you read anything beside the sport page, you'd know there's a bread shortage through the whole country.
Why don't you just admit you forgot to go shopping today?
I did not forget.
I'll bet you my friend Gillis's wife didn't forget to shop for her poor, tired husband. Junior, run next door and borrow us a bread.
Riley, you're only sending the boy on a fool's errand.
Fool's errand, huh? Okay, then I'll go myself.
What? Bread shortage? My darling wife, you don't expect James Madison Gillis to believe that. Why don't you just admit you forgot to go shopping today? I'm going over and borrow your bread from my friend Riley.
Why don't you look like...
Go?
Brother Gillis.
Brother Riley. I was just on my way over to your hacienda.
Well, that's funny. I was just going over to your joint.
Well, fancy that. Why, I got up in the middle of lunch to see you.
Old pal. It's uncanny. I done the same thing, Gillis. Imagine, brother Lodge brothers who'd rather see each other than eat.
Yeah, this we ought to tell down at the lodge. It belongs in the minutes of the BPLA.
Yeah. What an example for the Brooklyn Patriots of Los Angeles.
Yes, sir, when it comes to brotherly love, we're crawling. Like, if any time you wanted a small favor, you only got to come to me, right?
Right. And any time you wanted anything, I'd be hurt if you didn't come to me. By the way, brother...
Proceed, Brother Riley.
No, Brother Gillis. You proceed.
Very well. Loan me a bread.
Is that all, Gillis? Is that all? Why, I'd be only too... Bread?
Yeah, just one loaf. Well?
Gillis, if I had it, you could have it. You know that, but...
Look, Riley, you told me to come to you for anything, and here I am. If a whole loaf is too much, I'll settle for a dozen slices. All right, 2 measly slices. Without butter.
Believe me, Brother Gillis, if my right arm was made of bread, I'd slice off half and throw in a couple of fingers. But the fact
Riley,
is...
are you telling me you ain't got 2 slices of bread?
Well, yeah, we got bread, but you see, we got new rules.
Oh, I guess. So this is your idea of friendship. I'm glad I got on to you, so as I can get off of you.
Now, wait, Brother Gillis.
Don't give me that brother stuff. To me, you're strictly an in-law.
Gillis, that's going too far.
Get off of my property, Riley, and stay off.
Okay, I'm going, and don't you never speak to me again.
Don't worry, I won't.
I don't never want to hear your voice. Why, from today on, I won't even listen in on your party line. Well, okay, Mr. Daroff. If you do get in any bread, send one over to my house, please.
Be glad to, Mr. Riley, if I get any.
Yeah, all right. I've been to 8 grocers. Everybody tells me the same thing. I can't...
Hey, Riley.
Who? Oh, it's you, Benny. So long.
Hey, wait a minute, chum. I can put you onto a good thing.
Look, Benny, I ain't interested in betting on horses. All I want right now is some bread.
What do you think I'm talking about, chum? Just follow me into this alley.
You mean that you know where the...
Here's the place.
Wait a minute, Benny. This ain't no bakery. Look at that sign. Pool parlor.
That's just to keep out the riffraff. We don't sell to everybody.
Now, wait a minute, Benny. This bread ain't over ceiling price, is it? I don't want any part of that.
Riley, I'm hurt. Deeply hurt. I guarantee we sell bread at strictly market price.
Are you sure?
Why, Riley, would I be associated with anything shady? I got a reputation to hold up. San Quentin didn't knock 6 weeks off for good behavior for nothing.
Well, I don't know, Benny.
Don't worry. This is strictly on the up and up. Everything's wide open. We got nothing to hide. Now, come on, let's go in.
Oh, all right.
Quick, chuck in, boys.
Fred, my pal Riley wants you to fix him up with a little, you know, B-R-E-D.
Gee, it's a good thing I don't want pumpernickels.
How much bread do you want, Bud?
Well, I don't want to rob you.
How much bread do you want, Bud?
Well, all I need is one.
Okay. 1 carload of this.
No, not a carload. I only meant one.
Don't tell me you only want 1 crate. A measly 60 loaves. Benny, this guy's wasting my time.
Well, he wants to start easy, Fred. Just a couple of dozen.
A couple of dozen? No, I couldn't.
Oh, you mean you want only 1 dozen?
Well, the fact is that...
Riley, come here a minute. Wait, don't start haggling. Haggling makes Fred nervous.
Yeah?
And when Fred gets nervous, he can't stand people staring at him. So he closes their eyes.
Yeah? Well, Benny, I was just after 1 loaf of bread.
Stop the whispering. I'm getting nervous. Come on, Bud. How many breads?
1 dozen. It's just for a sample. Next time, who knows?
It's a deal. Benny, get the guy a dozen.
Right.
Now, shell up.
Oh, Benny said market price, 12 cents. That's $1.44.
Correct. Only
what?
Only with every loaf of bread, we do you the courtesy of selling you one of these genuine mother-of-pearl ashtrays.
Ashtrays? Oh, say, that's just a clamshell. There's a million of them on the beach at Santa Monica.
We refer to them as ashtrays. I say they cost you 4 bits apiece. And if I was you, Bud, I wouldn't pass up this opportunity.
Here's the bread, Riley. 12 breads, 12 ashtrays at $7.44.
Well, I don't know, Benny.
Benny, tell him to hurry up. I don't like the way he's staring at me.
Okay, here. All I got is a 10 spot.
Hey, Fred. You want Fred to keep the change, don't you, Riley?
Huh? Oh, yeah, sure, keep it. Well, I gotta be going.
Just a minute, Bud. Let me give you some good advice. Never part with them clamshells. They may save your life.
My life?
Yeah. If you ever get the notion you'd like to talk about me being in the bread business, take a look at them shells. And remember that them clams would be alive today if they kept their mouths shut.
12 loaves of bread, Pop.
Yeah?
And 12 clamshells.
We refer to them as ashtrays. I couldn't help it, son. When you buy these ashtrays, they make you take the bread.
Yeah, but for 12 loaves. Boy, wait till Mom gets home. You'll catch it.
Junior, we gotta hide it until we can eat it up.
Well, how you keep it fresh?
Well, I'll put them in my cigar humidor.
12 loaves?
No, that won't work. Junior, you gotta help me. Remember, we're in this together.
We?
We can eat it in a week if we concentrate.
Riley!
Your mother, quick, help me stuff this bread under the table. Now, pull the cloth down on the side, Junior. Come on.
Riley, open the door. My arms are full of packages.
It's all clear, Pa. Okay. Oh, come right in, Dumpling. Let me take some of them bags. Huh?
My, I had to stand in line so long. But what do you think, Riley? I got a loaf of bread.
Just what we needed.
Well, I'll be seeing you, Pop.
Well, aren't you pleased, Riley? You wanted bread.
Please. I'm speechless. Peg, what are we having for supper?
See. Salad, soup, roast like a lamb, and dessert. Why?
I got a better idea, Peg. Tonight, let me make dinner.
Well, I never. What would you serve?
Oh, I got a great menu. First, bread salad. That's chopped bread and lettuce.
What?
Yeah, and then for soup, we'll have toast.
Toast?
Yeah. I mean milk toast. Milk toast on toast.
What are you talking about?
And then we could have roast bread loaf. That's bread stuffed with breadcrumbs. And for dessert...
Chester Riley, you've got a strange look on your face. Have you been up to something?
Oh, me? No, only... Look, Peg, suppose, just suppose, mind you, that I knew where to get bread. Lots of bread. What would you say?
There's only one way to get lots of bread, Riley. We talked about it at the League of Women Voters. We're organizing to fight it because it's a black market.
Black market?
Yes. It robs honest people like us of our share. The bread goes to people who are willing to pay overpriced.
Oh, I wouldn't go for a racket like that.
Or else they sell the bread at market price, but make you buy some worthless thing along with it. Only a moron would fall for that.
Now, wait, Peg. Maybe you're being a little unjust.
Unjust?
I mean, look at it through the moron's eye. Like I do.
Well, Riley, it's nice to be tolerant, but all I can say is I'm glad you're not the type of man who'd do a thing like that.
I ain't? Then what type am I?
Well, you're sweet and unselfish, and the main thing, you're honest.
What a revolting development this is.
has just brought you the first act of The Life of Riley, and we'll be back with Riley in just a moment. Meanwhile, this is Ken Carpenter. Think, are you brushing gum-line cavities into your teeth with toothpaste or powder containing harsh abrasives? Well, why take this chance when modern liquid Teal cleans teeth safely without abrasives? You see, out of every 10 adults, 8 have receding gums. And when gums recede, parts of your teeth are exposed 25 times softer than tooth enamel. Those softer parts are easily damaged by daily use of toothpaste or powder containing harsh abrasives. So chances are 8 in 10 you're risking those ground-in cavities daily, unless the dentifrice you use contains no such abrasives. Now, Teal is the only leading dentifrice that contains no abrasives. Teal cleans teeth with a patented ingredient, protects teeth from ground-in gum-line cavities. The Teal way takes 1 extra minute a week to make teeth look their best safely. Follow directions on the package, and remember, large family-sized Teal saves money. Insist on T-E-E-L, Teal, the refreshing liquid dentifrice. And now back to The Life of Riley with William Bendix as Riley. Well, Riley insisted that the bread shortage was exaggerated, and to prove it, went right out and bought a dozen loaves. Then he found out it was black market. Now, thoroughly ashamed, Riley is plotting to keep his wife from finding out his guilty secret.
Oh, Junior, let this be a lesson to you. Crime don't pay.
Oh, Pop, you didn't really commit a crime. You just didn't use your head.
You're right. Nature gave me a wonderful head, and all I ever used it for was to keep my ears apart.
Pop, you gotta get rid of all this bread.
Yeah, I know, but Junior, you take the sack of bread over to some other neighborhood and leave a loaf on each doorstep.
Okay, I'll get going right away.
Good.
Yeah, but what'll I say if people ask questions?
Oh, just say that it's free. Say that your father's very charitable. Tell him I'm one of the biggest philanderers in town.
Hey, Junior, wait a minute.
Oh, hello, Mr. Gillis.
I thought it was you, but I couldn't be sure in the dark. That's quite a sack on your back.
Yeah. Well, so long, Mr. Gillis.
Just a minute, Junior. What's in that sack? It looks like...
Please, Mr. Gillis, I gotta go.
It's bread. It's bread.
Oh, let me go. You got no right to go snooping in my father's business.
Oh, so that's your father's business.
I'm late now. So long, Mr. Gillis.
Bread. A whole sack full of bread. And Riley wouldn't spare me a crumb. A crumb?
Brother Riley, a racketeer?
Are you sure, Brother Gillis? Fellow Lodge Brothers, his own son admitted it.
Brother Riley in the black market. I couldn't hardly believe it. Swiping a hard-boiled egg from a pal's lunchbox. Yes. Slapping a penny scale till his palms bleed to get his weight free. Yes. But the black market?
I know how you feel, boys. It's a cat's apostrophe. But our duty is plain. Therefore, I call upon the Supreme Council here to pass judgment on ex-Brother Riley.
Yeah,
I say so.
If it pleases the court, this may have no bearing on the case, but before we pass judgment, shouldn't we have a trial?
Well, it's a little irregular, but okay. Instead of voting Riley guilty without a hearing, let's hear his lying story and then vote him guilty.
Why ain't Riley here? He's been informed of the trial.
Yeah, but we didn't tell him he's the one who's on trial. Maybe he'd like to defend himself.
That would be unconstitutional. Now let's have the verdict.
Yeah. Let's have the verdict right now. Hey, fellas.
I just got your message. What's up? What's the special meeting for, huh?
Riley, the Supreme Council is meeting about a certain member who has violated Section 77B.
What? High treason? Boy, I'm glad I got here in time. Let's toss the rat out on his ear.
We thought maybe before voting we'd give the guilty party a chance to prove he's innocent.
I'm against it. If you guys think he's guilty, that's good enough for me.
So be it.
All right.
All in favor we should throw Riley out of the lodge, say aye.
Aye!
Some opposed?
Nobody! Throw him out! Where is he? Come on, Riley. Show your miserable face. Get up and get it. Did you say Riley?
Correct.
But I'm the only Riley in the lodge.
You mean you're the only Riley who used to be in the lodge? We don't like black marketeers.
No, wait, fellas. I didn't know. I mean, a crook named Fred was, and I'm as innocent as Benedict Arnold.
Riley, you're through with this lodge.
No.
Yes. To us, you're legally dead. We're hanging your pool cue at half-mast.
Oh, there, Riley. Are you there?
Who's that?
It is I, Digby Odell, the friendly undertaker.
Oh, hello, Digger.
Greetings, Riley. You're looking fine. Very natural.
I don't feel so good, Digger. Believe me, you've never seen anyone lower than I am.
Would you like to bet?
The guys in my lodge think I'm dishonest.
You, Riley?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I've known you for years, and you've always been honest and above ground.
You mean above board?
Above ground is better, believe me. Come, I'll cheer you up. You know what my friends say about my sunny disposition?
Yeah.
When you're low and getting lower, and your pace is getting slower, when you've no more vim or vigor, just put in a call for Digger. Now, what's the trouble?
Well, the lodge kicked me out because I got mixed up with the black market.
Oh, the black market?
Yeah.
Riley, any man who fools around with the black market is only digging his own grave. And I'm opposed to that.
But it wasn't my fault. I couldn't help it. Gee, when Peg finds out...
You mean your wife doesn't know?
No.
Oh, Riley, you mustn't keep secrets from your wife. Once I kept a secret from my wife. When we got married, I forgot to tell her that I was an undertaker.
What happened?
As we entered our honeymoon cottage, from force of habit, I got 6 of my colleagues to carry my bride across the threshold. I adore honeymoon. There, okay.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Digger. I better tell Peg myself before she finds out. Thanks for the advice.
Don't mention it. Well, cheerio. I'd better be shoveling off.
And so, well, Peg, that's the story. So just say that you forgive me, and I'm willing to forget the whole thing.
Oh, no, Riley. Too many people are willing to forget the whole thing. They don't like to remember that most of the world is hungry.
Hungry? I don't want nobody going hungry.
We're asked to cut down to 1 slice of bread per meal, and we holler murder. Why?
Well, it was okay during the war, Peg.
The war's still on, Riley. Only now it's a war against starvation. Well, we've got plenty of food. Instead of bread, we can eat mashed potatoes. But some people have nothing.
Nothing?
But people in China are eating clay. Clay. People in India are eating weeds. Old people, working people, and children. And you help starve them.
Me?
Yes. The people who buy on the black market aren't much better than the people who run the black market.
Starving kids.
Oh, yes?
Riley here.
Fred.
Yeah, Fred. Nice little joint you got here, Riley. You want to stay healthy and enjoy it?
What? Riley, who is this man?
That's the fellow who sold me the bread. Come on in, Fred. I'm glad to see you. It's okay, Peg.
Riley, I hear you've been trying to muscle in on my business. Handing out bread all over. Now lay off.
We like giving away stuff, Fred. It makes us feel good. Like I got something to give you. Free. And it ain't clamshells. It's something you need bad, Fred. And here it is. Oh. That's for the people in China.
Why, I'll give you... Go!
That's for the people in India.
Oh, stop.
I ain't finished yet. I still got to give you for the people in Yugoslavia. That's for Yugo, and that's for Slavia.
My teeth. You knocked out my teeth.
Good. That'll save more bread. You can eat mashed potatoes. Now get out of my house before you break every bone in my miserable body.
I'm going.
I'm going.
Why, Riley, you were wonderful.
Yeah. It's lucky for him I didn't know any more geography.
Riley's will be back in half a minute. Hurry, switch to Teal on your toothbrush. Teal protects teeth from gum-line cavities ground in by daily use of toothpaste or powder containing harsh abrasives. Teal cleans teeth gently, without abrasives. T-E-E-L, Teal, the safe, refreshing liquid dentifrice.
Meeting will now come to order. Brother Riley, one of the lodge's most loyal stool pigeons has informed us how you bravely exterminated a black market skunketeer. Therefore, on behalf of the BPLA, I am reinstating you as a member of this lodge.
Oh, fellas. Thanks. I'm grateful.
That's fine. And now, Brother Riley, would you mind handing over $5 for the new membership fee?
It's a losing fight.
Procter & Gamble, makers of Teal, the amazing liquid dentifrice, invite you to be their guests next week to hear the life of Riley with William Bendix as Riley. William Bendix appears by arrangement with Hal Roach. The Life of Riley is produced for Teal by Irving Brecker and is directed by Don Bernard. Music by Lou Kozloff. The script by Ashmead Scott, Alan Lipscott, and Reuben Schiff. Mrs. Riley is Paula Winslow. Junior is Scotty Beckett. Digger Odell is John Brown. And others in the cast were Herb Vigran, Jerry Hausner, and Lou Merrill. This is Ken Carpenter on behalf of Teal, inviting you to listen again next week. And remember, for laughs, it's R-I-L-E-Y, Riley. And for lovely smiles, it's T-E-E-L, Teal. Teal, the amazing liquid dentifrice, protects teeth beautifully.
It's a washing miracle for silk, nylon, woolens, dishes.
What are you talking about?
Dreft. I'll spell it. D-R-E-F-T, Dreft. Yes, ladies, and Dreft spells faster, brighter, safer cleaning than any sud before in history.
That's true. Take lingerie, for example. Why, Dreft keeps my dainty underthings fresher and brighter than even expensive soap flakes.
Right. You see, Dreft is different than soap. Dreft's rich suds rinse clean and clear. They simply can't leave any sticky deposit the way all soaps do. No wonder Dreft keeps lingerie, stockings, new woolens, prettier and brighter far longer than any soap could ever do. With Dreft, there's no soap fading.
Yes, and for washing dishes, Dreft is just unbelievable. Why, Dreft makes my dishes shine even without wiping. Every woman knows how dishes washed with soap dry with a greasy film unless you polish them. Well, my Dreft wash dishes drain dry, bright and sparkling. Even glasses sparkle without touching a towel to them.
Yes, ladies. Decide now to open up this bright new world of beauty for your nice things, for your fine washables, for your dishes. So get Dreft in the bright green package. Dreft, Procter & Gamble's amazing suds discovery that gives you faster, brighter, safer cleaning than any suds before in history. That's D-R-E-F-T, Dreft. Next time you shop, get Dreft.
Listen again next week, same time, when Teal, for a beautiful smile, brings you the Life of Riley for laughs.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
The Planet Man. Planet Man. This is the fascinating story of Danto, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization, the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Danto, the Planet Man, fighting for fair play. In a moment, The Planet Man. You will remember that Billy and Jane Darrow had just been saved from an unseen monster in the darkness of the hidden caves of the Venusian Dusters. Pat Darrow and Planet Man, who were guided to the kids by the Dusters, are hard put to understand this act by their captors.
I don't get it at all. First the Dusters prisoners, and now they save Billy and Jane. It just doesn't make sense.
I know how you feel, Pat. I wish I knew the answer.
It was funny, too, the way that thing, whatever it was, ran away the minute they came. Did you notice how cold and scary it got right then? Like something awful was going to happen, Danto?
No, I didn't, Billy. Can you tell me something more? It may be important.
It's like a cold, frightening wind. Only it wasn't a wind. Sort of. And just before that, before I could hear you and Pat coming, I knew you were coming. Me too. Excitement. I forgot that part.
What's this all about, Danto? Do you really think it's important?
It may be very important. In fact, it may explain a lot of things about the Dusters that have been so mysterious.
You really think? Why?
Now, try to remember this, Billy. You too, Jane. Did you ever feel anything when the Dusters were around before?
Do you mean anything?
Exactly.
Remember when we were standing looking at their ruler and he kept staring at us? Didn't you feel sort of warm and friendly? Good all over. Sure, but I thought it was my imagination. What was it, Danto?
Well, that's only guessing, of course, but it may mean that the Dusters are telepathic.
Telepathic? You mean they're mind readers?
It frightens me a little.
Oh, it's nothing to worry about. Kids, would you be willing to try an experiment? Listen closely. Both of you think as hard as you can about the Dusters. Think about being their friends and about their coming here and getting us. Concentrate on it as hard as you can. Concentrate. You're friends. You like them. You want them to come for us. Friends. Come for us. Come for us. Come for us.
Danto, they're coming. I can hear them. They're coming.
What do we do now?
I can't see them, but from the sound, there must be 100 Dusters there.
Quiet, please, Billy Jane. Just relax and try to keep your mind blank. Do you sense anything? Any thoughts that seem different?
Yes. It's almost like a voice inside my head. Only no words, more like pictures. Me too. They're telling us that we're their friends. They mean us no harm. They knew we were in trouble and came to get us from the dust buggy.
Well, ask them why they'd never tried to contact anyone else, why they've kept their civilization hidden. But think it, don't say it.
I am. Gosh, this gets easier all the time. They say that no one but a duster has ever been able to sense their thoughts before. They consider the Venusians savages. Say, can you imagine that? And the Venusians thought the dusters were a legend. They want us to come with them to see their leader again. Oh, Danto, this is so exciting.
I tell you, Chester, it's impossible. They've got to be here in the dust buggy. Where could they go? How could they leave?
Shut up for a minute. Let me think. 26 hours ago, I saw them stop. I made sure of it before I rejoined the convoy. They couldn't have gotten the buggy started. It hasn't been moved or it'd leave tracks.
And they couldn't cross the desert without dust walkers. They just sank
There were no dust walkers, didn't I, when I sabotaged it? Oh, shut up.
Well, perhaps the rescue party from Venusport beat us here, huh?
No, I sent them off in the wrong direction.
Yeah, but who? Out here? There's no one here. It's impossible.
Impossible or not, it happened, and we must find them. Our orders were to see to it that the Earth people and Planet Man do not leave the desert alive. Those orders shall be carried out. We must look for tracks.
There were some funny marks in the dust over that way, but not like anything I've ever seen.
Where, you stupid fool? You mean to tell me that you knew they were there and didn't say so? Come on.
Where are we going?
After them. That's why we're here. It's this. Hurry. Thanks to your stupidity, we've lost valuable time already.
Are we going to walk?
No, we'll take the flyer. But stay close to the ground and go slowly. If we lose these tracks, we'll never find Planet Man and the others. Oh, now why make to catch up with them? If it were not for their meddling, Noki would be ruler of Venus. It was their interference that brought defeat to Marston. But it's not too late. No, it's not too late.
Noki and Baka, the two disciples of Marston who sabotaged Danto's dust buggy, are surprised not to find their would-be prisoners. Is it too late for Noki? Can he and Baka find our friends? We'll be back in a moment, so level off. As we return to the Venus dust world, we find our friend Danto, Pax, and the kids Billy and Jane being entertained by their new friends, the Dusters, with whom Billy and Jane have learned to communicate by mental telepathy.
Gosh, what a difference from the last time we were here. Look at the fuss they're making over us. They can really dance.
Well, I think it's amazing the way they keep in step without any music.
Oh, they have music. You see those men over there? They're musicians. They sing different notes and everybody gets them. Now they're all singing. Billy, maybe if we try, we can amplify it so that Pat and Danto can hear.
Yes, kids, try it.
Keep it up, kids. I think it's working.
It's incredible. Incredible. And you two are actually amplifying the Duster's thoughts so Pat and I can get them.
But I can't understand why the kids are telepathic and we aren't.
The leader explained it to me. It's got something to do with our being from Earth and being so young. You must have had it when you were younger, Pat, but you grew out of it before you learned how to use it.
Yes, I suspected that. But let's listen to the music for a moment.
Where could they be going? We've been following these strange trails for miles across the desert. There's nothing this way but thousands of miles of dust.
Be quiet and do as you're told. They can't be far off. We've been flying while they walked. Wherever they're headed, we'll find them, and then I'll notify our friends. One atom bomb, and it'll be over.
Wait, up there ahead. The tracks disappear.
Right.
But how can they just disappear?
Stop talking and land the flyer.
Yes, Noki, I meant no harm. I just wondered.
You wondered too much. Remember, your life means nothing to me. I've tolerated you only because you know this desert, but don't push me too far. Now, let's look more closely at these disappearing tracks. You see? A tunnel into the ground. We're getting close.
Shall I notify our friends and have them send the ship to bomb this tunnel?
Not yet. We must be certain.
Surely you don't mean to go down into that hole?
Follow me.
I don't like it at all. It's dangerous going down into this tunnel in the dark.
What are you afraid of? You found Planet Man's ray gun. You know they're not armed.
But that still doesn't explain those tracks. Or why they lead down into this tunnel. Who knows what made them? I tell you, it's dangerous.
Enough. Why did they give me such a stupid coward? I would do better alone. Shine that light up ahead and move along. My ray gun is ready even for Dusters. If I hear another word, I'll use it first on you.
Don't, Noki. Point that the other way. I'm going.
That's better. It can't be very far. We've walked a long way into this tunnel already.
We must be hundreds of feet down.
Soon the Planet Man and the Earth people will be eliminated, and Marston's defeat will be avenged. And the League will not dare accept us as a member. Hurry up, Baka. We've work to do.
Billy, ask him why the Dusters consider the Venusians savages. By the way, what's his name?
His name is Manu. He says it means mind leader. Manu says that they have watched the Venusians for centuries and never have been able to detect any signs of their thoughts. To them, thought projection is part of intelligent life.
But does he know the Venusians consider the Dusters a myth?
Manu suggests that Jane and I try to amplify his thoughts and yours so that you can communicate with each other directly. He sensed your last question, and he will try to answer it.
Yes, we know that My people are few, their wants are simple, and they are kept content to stay here in our cave city where they have everything they need.
Is this the only city on Venus where there are dusters?
Dantro! One of the guards in the tunnel that leads to the city has just sent a message that some surface people have discovered the entrance to the city and they're on their way.
Can you tell who they are? It must be the rescue party from Venusport. Somehow they must have discovered where we were.
No, he doesn't know who they are. But I don't think it can be a rescue party, for he says they act like hunters. He fears they're our enemies.
Ask him if they're armed.
Yes, he says that they're carrying ray guns.
Nanu, we must have arms or weapons of some sort.
We have no weapons as the kind you know. Here, we are prepared in ways that will surprise you and your prove to be.
What are these ways of preparation for oncoming danger of which Manu speaks? Can they match a material weapon like a ray gun? We'll be back in a moment, but first, here is a message the Planet Man wants you to hear. Tune in again for more transcribed thrills and adventures. Rocket millions of light years into space with Dan Troll, the Planet Man. The Planet Man.
Jessica Tandy and Hume Cronin in The Marriage. The sponsors of this program offer no endorsement of the opinions, philosophies, stubbornness, or confusion of the persons represented therein. However, with the conviction that marriage remains the most popular domestic arrangement between friendly people, NBC takes pleasure in presenting by transcription one of the most distinguished couples in the American theater, Jessica Tandy and Hume Cronin as Liz and Ben Marriott in the new dramatic series, The Marriage.
Making a moral decision is something like riding a bicycle. You may not do it for years, but once you learn, you never forget. Of course, when you first start, you'll wobble from side to side, probably fall a few times, and it's often pretty painful. Somebody else can hold the bicycle and run along beside you, but you've got to learn how to balance for yourself. This thought just didn't come to me. I've been working it out for weeks. When I get it polished, I'll spring it on Liz as extemporaneous wit, and I won't fool her a bit. The reason it came up was Emily. It started a few weeks ago after dinner.
Emily, aren't you going to start your homework?
I have to finish this first, Mom.
What are you doing, dear?
I'm knitting.
Knitting what?
Argyle socks.
Oh, that's nice.
I made a little mistake. I turned the heel twice.
You did? Let me see them. Emily, won't these be a little big for you?
Oh, well, they're not for me. They're for a boy.
What boy?
I don't know.
Any boy, but 2 heels on each foot.
Could you straighten them out, Mommy? I've got to finish them by tomorrow morning.
Oh, this'll take hours, Emily.
I know, but I've just got to finish. Or I get scragged.
Scragged?
Well, you know, scragged.
Sounds painful.
It is. They use ping-pong paddles.
Well, naturally. What else would you use for scragging?
Emily, you've got the yarn tied in knots.
What is this, Emily? Who are the socks for?
Margie Pastor's boyfriend.
Well, then, why doesn't Margie Pastor knit them?
Because I'm her varlet.
Oh. Oh. Emily, what is a varlet?
Well, we all are. Ellie Meyer and James.
Shouldn't these red lines be crossing at right angles, dear? Give me the instructions.
Here, Mom. Golly, it's worse than geometry.
Emily, what does a varlet do?
Well, everything. Shine shoes, do homework, give home permanence, sew hems.
Let me put it this way. Why?
Oh, if you don't, you get scragged.
With ping-pong paddles?
That's right.
Emily, is there some higher goal to this, or is it just mortification of the flesh?
Oh, no. It's Omega Chi.
Omega Chi?
A sorority.
I thought they were illegal in high school.
Well, they are. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so much fun.
You've joined?
Oh, no, I'm pledged. You have to be a varlet for 2 weeks before you're initiated.
Why do you want to be in this sorority, dear?
Oh, well, only the most important girls are asked, and Ellie is, and she's my best friend, and they give a leap year dance at a big hotel, and you ask a boy, and if you're not a member, you can't go, and somebody else can ask the boy.
Uh-huh.
You see?
I think so. Is there some member who has designs on your choice?
Yes, Margie.
Uh-huh.
That's why I've got to be so careful. If I don't do everything just right, she'll thumb me down.
What do they use for that? Baseball bats?
Oh, no, that means you're thrown out. How are the socks coming, Mom?
I think I turned the heel again.
If I don't finish the socks, how am I ever going to start on the skirt?
What skirt?
Margie's skirt. I've got to hem it, and it's circular. 4 yards around.
Now, wait a minute, Emily. You've got French, math, and biology homework. You've got to do that.
But I'll be scragged.
There are some things which are more important. Now, you go and do your homework right now. Staying up all night sewing somebody else's skirt is ridiculous. What time is it, Liz?
2:45. How are you coming?
Halfway around the skirt. Ow!
Why don't you use a thimble?
Gets in the way. How are the socks?
Sort of like Argyle feed bags. When I'm through, I'll wash them in hot water and dry them in the oven. That'll get them down to size.
I never saw a skirt this big. Margie will look like the center pole in a circus tent.
Emily, finish her homework?
At midnight. Do you realize that the kid would have had to stay up all night?
I suppose we should have let her.
Maybe. I just don't like the idea of her being paddled. Matter of fact, I don't like the whole idea of Omega Chi.
Neither do I.
Liz, I got about 4 inches left over here. What do I do?
Oh, sneak it in little tucks. You know, Ben, I think the sorority violates the school regulations.
Not to mention the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. If this isn't involuntary servitude, I don't know what is. My left thumb is a bloody mess.
Well, here are the socks finished.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Ben, I hope Emily doesn't know any boy these might fit.
Pledge week for Omega Chi ran on and on. Emily seemed to spend most of her time running errands and collecting unusual items. Once I found her making 12 copies of her algebra homework, so I confiscated them. A few days later, a boy, Bobby Logan, called up and left a message with me that he was coming over to talk to her. Emily paled.
Daddy, that's awful. Tell him I'm not home.
I thought you liked him.
Well, I do, but I can't talk to him.
This isn't more Omega Chi.
It's the vow.
The vow?
You're not allowed to talk to any boys in Pledge Week. You can't even tell them why. Daddy, there he is.
This ought to be an interesting interview.
What will I do?
You could draw pictures or act out charades. You know, first word, second syllable.
Oh, Daddy, answer the door.
Maybe you could play double solitaire. Hey, Bobby.
Huh?
Where are you going? Over here.
Oh, hello, Mr. Marriott. I thought nobody was home.
You're almost right. Come on in.
I came to see Emily.
That's what you said on the phone.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
Come on in. Sit down.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to.
Tired?
No, blisters.
Too much basketball?
No, somebody gave me some hand-knit Argyle socks.
Don't they fit?
Oh, they fit.
Well, that's good.
They're a little lumpy.
Emily, here's Bobby.
Oh, hello, Emily.
Well, kids, I got some work in the other room.
Daddy, you've got to stay. The vow.
Well, is it all right with you, Bobby?
Oh, yes. Emily, would you mind if I took off my shoes?
Daddy, tell him of course not.
Of course not.
And my socks?
It's all right, Bobby. Go ahead. Undress. Lumpy Argyle.
Oh, thank you.
Well, that could happen to any of us.
Emily, are you mad at me or something? You wouldn't even talk to me in the hallway where we used to... Mr. Marriott, if you've got work to do, I could come back later.
Oh, no. I'm afraid I'm indispensable.
Oh.
Daddy, don't you think a person ought to wait before making a big decision? I mean, before accepting an important invitation?
Play it on the first bounce, Bobby. Doesn't mean a thing to me.
Well, she was talking to you.
Only pro forma.
Oh. Oh, I don't take Latin.
I mean, Daddy, just because someone might have a very good reason for not talking to someone, well, that someone shouldn't necessarily think the other person doesn't want to talk to them.
Bobby, would you like me to take notes and prepare you a rough draft?
Well, maybe you'd better, Mr. Marriott. Emily, I just came over to say, look, I don't want to keep your father from his work. Maybe I'd better take my shoes and go.
Now, look, this is ridiculous. Emily, for heaven's sakes, talk to the boy.
Daddy, I just can't.
Well, goodbye, Mr. Marriott. It was a pleasure talking to someone.
Goodbye, Bobby.
Goodbye, Emily. I hope you're not mad at me.
Oh, Bobby.
Yes?
Here. You left a sock. Evidently, the nadir of Pledge Week was a pajama party at which the final separation of sheep from goats occurred. To our horror, Emily informed us that we were to be honored by the choice of our house for that occasion. Liz and I sat exiled in the kitchen as the members of the inner circle of Omega Chi arrived with overnight bags.
There's another one.
Open the door a crack. This one has ping-pong paddles.
The children won't actually hurt each other, will they?
I hope not. I don't want the neighbors to hear screams.
Oh, I'll just explain to them that you were at the vanilla extract again.
Oh, thank you, dear.
Hello, Mrs. Marriott. Mr. Marriott.
Hi.
Hello, Ellie. Oh, what lovely pajamas.
You think it's all right that I didn't put on a robe? The flannel.
Well, you look fine, dear.
Emily said there was root beer in the icebox.
I get it, dear. How many are there?
Only 12. The Bartletts aren't allowed to have any.
Well, if you want one, Ellie, you come out here and I'll fix you up.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Marriott.
Can you manage the tray?
Yeah, I've got it. Thank you.
The one comfort I have is that other people's daughters are just as idiotic.
Excuse me, Mommy. I've got to get the stuff.
Of course, dear.
What have you got there?
Oh, cold spaghetti, steel grapes, cold lamb fat, and a piece of raw liver.
Aren't those rather bizarre refreshments, dear?
Oh, they're not refreshments. That's part of the ceremony.
Huh?
Oh, don't worry, Mommy. Everything's all right.
Raw liver.
I imagine it's the feeling.
Ooh.
Guess that's the idea.
What do you suppose that was? The cold spaghetti or peeled grapes? Through the evening, strange sounds drifted from Emily's bedroom across the insulating space of the living room to our retreat in the kitchen. There were cold spaghetti squeals, peeled grape squawks, and one strangling gasp, which we identified somehow or other with the cold lamb fat. About 10:30, there had been quiet for some time. I had my work spread out on the kitchen table, and Liz was sewing buttons.
Ben, do you hear something?
No? They must have exhausted the possibilities.
They're not in Emily's room, in the living room.
Huh?
Well, it sounds to me like... I'd better look.
Where are you going?
Ellie? Ellie, what's the matter?
Hello, Mrs. Marriott.
Well, what's the matter, dear?
Nothing.
You're all dressed.
I'm going home.
But aren't you staying over with the rest of the girls?
No, I'm not. Good night, Mrs. Marriott. Mr. Marriott.
Oh, just a minute, dear. Something's wrong, isn't it?
I was thumbed down.
She was what?
You mean you're not joining Omega Chi?
I was thumbed down. I went through it all. I did everything they said, really.
Who told you this?
Marty. But it wasn't her especially. They took a secret ballot.
Liz, I'm going to get Emily out here and ask her...
Ben, wait. Why did you get summed down, Ellie?
My clothes are never right. My hair always looks so... Well, you know.
They told you that?
No. They're very considerate. But I know. I shouldn't have tried to get in. I should have known I couldn't be like them. Mrs. Marriott.
Oh, Ellie, there now, darling.
Oh, what do I tell my mother? She bought me a new dress for the Amiga dancer. I begged her and now...
Well, you can use the dress, dear.
Mom was going to buy a winter coat. And the dress is altered, so we can't return it. Oh, I could die. I could just die.
Ellen. What did Emily do while all this was going on?
Oh, she was very sorry. I could tell she was crying.
She's still in there?
She's lucky, isn't she?
Oh, I don't know. Liz, I'm going to go in there.
Ben.
They've got no right to
Ben,
behave.
you take Ellie home now.
Oh, of course.
Oh, that's all right, Mr. Marion. I don't want to trouble you.
It's no trouble, Ellie. Come on, we'll stop and get a hot chocolate. Come on, dear. I suppose it was Liz's idea that I needed a cooling off period before I barged in on the little monsters of Omega Chi. I got back home a little cooler. Liz had Emily out in the kitchen.
Mom, there just wasn't anything I could do. It was a secret ballot of members only.
Listen, Emily. I just took Ellie home. I had a talk with her mother and father. I was trying to explain. I didn't know what to say.
I know, Daddy. Oh, I could have died when they told Ellie.
Well, what did you do?
Did you say anything?
Well, it was all over.
And you were safely chosen. Oh, Emily.
Well, it wouldn't have helped Ellie for me to say anything.
Well, why did they do that?
I don't know. I guess she was different.
Emily, I can't understand. Do you want to stay with a group like that?
Daddy, they were awful to Ellie. I know it wasn't fair at all, but what could I do? I wasn't even a full member.
Well, you could have walked out with Ellie.
Daddy, I wanted to. I really did. But then I would have been out too. And if it's dance, Margie would have asked Bobby. She's a senior. She's so much prettier than I am. And I would have been all alone against them. Well, it was all done anyway.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Daddy, you don't understand.
Look, Emily, we won't forbid you to join to join it. We've never done things that way.
I know, Daddy.
Up to now, we've been helping you with it, cooperating, but that's over.
Daddy,
Your father's right, Emily. We don't believe in this kind of thing. You know that.
Not in our house. After tonight, there will be no more Omega Chi activities here. You understand?
Yes.
All right. If you think you want to go back to your party, good night.
Good night, Emily.
I was disappointed in Emily. She dragged her feet across the living room, and I could hear the bedroom door close behind her. 2 days later, just before dinner, Bobby Logan showed up.
Oh, hello, Mr. Marriott.
Hi. Emily isn't home, Bobby.
Oh, yes, I know.
Oh?
She's at Margie Pastor's house.
Oh. Your blisters better?
Oh, yeah. I washed the socks.
They come out all right?
They didn't shrink at all.
Well, that's good.
The color ran.
You did?
We have Argyle sheets.
Oh. How quaint. Well, Bobby?
Well, are you working again, Mr. Marriott? I could go away.
No. Sit down. I suppose you came for something.
Oh, no. Oh, yes. Yes, I wanted to ask you about Emily. Is she sick?
No. Not that I know of.
I wondered. Mr. Marriott, she's been awfully funny for 2 weeks. I know that business of not talking to me was mixed up with that sorority initiation, but that isn't all. Yesterday, somebody told me she started crying in French class.
She did?
They were doing irregular verbs.
Do you think that accounts for it?
Oh, no. Irregular verbs are hard, but not that hard.
What do you think it is?
Oh, I don't know. She started to tell me something at school, but one of the girls came around the corner, so she stopped.
Oh. I suppose she has something on her mind.
She never used to. I mean, she didn't seem to think about anything. Oh, I don't mean she didn't think. She was always thinking, but well, you know.
I think I know what you mean.
One of the guys was kidding me about it. Joey Fletcher.
Oh?
He's on the soccer team.
Uh-huh.
They wanted me to play soccer, but my head was too soft.
It was?
Well, you know, you have to hit the ball with your head. I got headaches.
Oh, I can understand that.
He said, what kind of a girl cries in French class? Joey Fletcher.
I know, the soccer player. Bobby, I'm afraid Emily has the problem of all youth today.
She's delinquent?
No, not that I know of.
I don't either.
Bobby, it takes a certain amount of courage to stand up alone against a crowd.
Oh.
I'm afraid that women I include Emily in that category.
Oh, yes.
Well, women... Oh, it's no use. I could never think of clever things to say about women.
I heard one. A woman is only a woman, but a good cigar is a smoke.
Oh.
I don't understand it.
You don't?
I don't smoke.
Oh, well, that explains it. Excuse me, Bobby. Hello? Yes, this is Mr. Marriott. Emily? You're where? What? I'll be right there.
Is anything wrong, Mr. Marriott?
I don't know. Emily's at the police station, under custody. They said to bring a blanket.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
Emily, what is this all about?
It was part of the initiation. We had to get arrested.
Now listen, Emily, this whole thing has gone far enough. I
know.
What?
I was going to tell you, Daddy. I resigned in the police station.
You did?
I suddenly thought, isn't it silly to be sitting in the basement of a police station in my bathing suit?
Well, it is unusual.
I was thinking about Ellie. I tried to talk to her in school, but I couldn't. I was just so ashamed.
Uh-huh.
I mean, she was always my best friend, really. She's much smarter than I am, and she can draw awfully well. They said her clothes were raggedy. I suppose they were, but that isn't Ellie's fault. They just don't have the money, but that shouldn't make any difference.
No, it shouldn't.
Daddy, those girls are awful. The only fun they get out of being in isn't keeping somebody else out.
I think you're right.
Daddy, I knew I shouldn't stay, even before Ellie was summed down. I kept saying it wouldn't help Ellie for me to get out, but that wasn't true. I guess I really wanted to stay because of the dance and Bobby. He'll go with Margie Pastor.
He's at our house now.
Yes? Well, I guess I've got to tell him now. And Daddy, I know what I've got to do, but I wish I didn't have to tell Bobby.
Emily got into her robe while I briefed Liz in the bedroom. She went in to face her own valley of decision.
Bobby?
Oh, hello, Emily. Are you in trouble with the police?
No. I guess I better explain about the last few weeks.
Oh, I know. You were pledging Omega Chi.
Uh-huh. Bobby, about the Omega dance, I wanted to ask you to go.
You did? Margie Pastor asked me last week.
Oh. I'm sure you'll have a very good time with Margie.
Oh, no. No, I'm not going.
Oh, Bobby.
It isn't because of you.
It isn't?
I wouldn't have gone with you either.
Oh.
Emily, it's not that I wouldn't like to go out with you, but, well, I don't like to think that you do that sort of thing. I mean, I talked to Ellie. I was hoping you'd change your mind. Oh, Emily, I hope you don't mind my saying that.
No.
I mean, well, I didn't think you were that kind of girl.
Bobby, I'm not.
You aren't?
I resigned. I thought you'd go with Margie.
Oh, no.
Oh.
She scares me. You don't scare me, Emily.
I don't? Bobby, that's sweet of you.
Are you doing anything Saturday night? 2 weeks from now?
Well, that's the night of the dance.
I wondered, if you're not busy, would you like to go to the movies?
Let us extend an invitation on behalf of our stars, Jessica Tandy and Hume Cronin, as well as the National Broadcasting Company, to all of you to drop by next week at this time for another half-hour observation and transcription of The Marriage, written by Ernest Kenoy. Denise Alexander was heard as Emily Marriott, Joan Laser as Ellie, and William Redfield was heard as Bobby Logan. The Marriage is an NBC Radio Network production directed by Edward King. This is Bob Defton speaking.
Tomorrow, enjoy the Gala Voice of Firestone anniversary show on the NBC Radio Network.
African drums are talking. On and on they boom, just as they have for countless eons, causing the myriad human pulse to throb in unison. These drums are the most primitive telegraph known to man, and they bring you a story of Africa. Through impenetrable walls of jungle, the sound vibrates. Over wastes of veldt and swampland, bringing you a picture of sun-soaked earth, steaming swamp, juju groves, and jungle. Professor Anton Edwards, while in Africa, comes into possession of a severed and preserved human head that talks. The professor maintains it is the language of lost Atlantis, the same that he has been reconstructing for years. This theory makes possible the stories told by natives of a marvelous white tribe known as the Golden Race. The professor, his daughter Lorna, and his assistant, Jack Martin, are in camp. With them is Nguru, a huge native Maasai prince. Lorna was found walking in a trance, and for safety was tied to her bed. Later they found her gone, and the ropes on her bed still intact. It is night in the African jungle.
Great heavens, sir. What's the meaning of this? It's black magic. I can swear those ropes haven't been touched.
Are you positive of that, Jack?
Absolutely.
I didn't dream things were as serious as this.
See for yourself, Professor. Those knots are exactly as I made them.
Extraordinary. Very extraordinary. Nguru.
Aye, Bwana.
Tell me what you know of this, or what you think.
Nguru know nothing. Body sleep. Nose, him no sleep. Melum devil talk. Come, pole. Shenzi all sleep. Missy go for palava. No see. Pass. I come.
But where is she, Nguru? Did you see her go?
No, he says he didn't see her go. But he knows she went to talk with the devil.
Then what's to be done?
Track 'em, Missy, little Bwana.
That's the idea, Nguru. Let's go outside, Jack. See if you can pick up the trail, old warrior.
Now, no, Bwana. Come.
Yes, look. She must have passed over that patch of dust and headed straight across the clearing.
Come on. You'll have to hurry to keep up with Nguru. I'd like to get my hands on anyone who's responsible for this business.
Do you think I wouldn't, sir? Isn't Nguru covering the ground too quickly to see anything definite?
He knows what he's doing. Give him a little moonlight and he'd track a night owl.
Can you remember doing anything that might have offended one of the witch doctors around here?
Why, nothing that I can think of, Jack. Why do you ask?
Well, it seems to be the only logical solution to the strange happenings lately.
Oh, I'm very careful about that. I had to send one of my boys back to his village for stealing a few days ago. But I don't think that could have any bearing on this. No, he was perfectly affable about it.
Did you flog him for it?
No, just paid him off and told him to trek. Stealing is second nature with some of these black children. You mustn't be too hard on them sometimes.
But how in the name of all that's sensible did Lorna get out of those ropes without untying them? Oh, Lord, I'm worried stiff.
I know, Jack, but we're doing everything that's possible. I wish the girl had told me about that feeling of something out in the bush calling to her, though. Why did she keep it from me?
Didn't want to worry you, I guess. She was very nervous when she told me. Hello. Nguru stopped.
Nini Nguru.
Mazongo come. Welcome, Missy. Nauna.
A white man?
There's another track. Great Scott, it's the mark of a booted foot. Lorna's been pawned by a white man. No native wears boots up country.
Tell me, Nguru, have you heard any drum talk of other white men around here?
Nay, Buana. Drum he speak you, me.
That's strange. I haven't heard any other. Well, let's keep on going.
Aye, Buana.
Well, I'm stumped, sir. What do you make of it?
Lord knows, Jack. Unless a white man around here has found her wandering about. But if there were another white safari within 50 miles, we'd have heard of it. What's the excitement now, Nguru?
Nauna. Simba trailing.
Lion tracks. It's stalking Lorna, and we haven't a rifle with us.
Gapin, Nguru.
Huh.
Oh, true, eh? Well, I've got my .45, but heaven help us if we get close enough to use it. There are two of them. We might stop one, but if they charge together, well, come on, let's hurry.
They won't charge unless they're hungry. I hope they've eaten recently.
Well, they probably have. If they were very hungry, we'd have heard them charging before now. Maybe the fellow with Lorna has a rifle. 10 to 1 he has, so don't worry.
Buana. Missy. Nauna.
Where? Yes, there she is. Going into that grove of trees.
By herself. There's no one with her.
Whoever it was must have heard us coming and left hurriedly.
Quick, come on. The lions are getting closer.
Lorna! Wait. What's that moving in the tree above our head? It's swinging down. Look.
It's a huge snake. A python.
For heaven's sake, shoot, sir.
No good at this distance.
Where's Nguru going?
Throwing stick. Watch. Good shot, Nguru. That stopped him. I can finish him now.
Lorna. She's fainted, sir.
Hold her head down. That's right. That'll get the blood back into her brain. Damn it, that was a close call. Thanks for the throwing stick, Nguru. Great shot. Asante Sana.
Nauna Buana.
Huh? What is it?
By George, he's right. If that isn't a sacred snake, I don't know one when I see one.
Let's see. Yes, you're right. It's a marked python. But I don't think it belongs around here. Might have wandered from its special grove, eh?
Well, let's hope it has. We don't want any snake worshippers hauling around our camp.
If it belongs around here, we're in for a hectic time, I'm afraid.
She's coming out of it, sir. Lorna, dear. You're all right now. We're with you. This is Jack.
Yes. I'm all right now. Yes. What? Hello, Jack. What on earth are you looking so... Why, Father, what in the name of goodness are we doing out here? Where are we?
Now, don't bother your head about that now. We're all together. That's the main thing.
Why, have we ever been separated? What's all this
She
about?
doesn't remember a thing, sir.
Heavens, what should I remember? Oh, what's that?
Now, don't worry. It's dead. I shot it.
But I saw it move.
Muscular reaction, that's all. Always happens to pythons.
A python?
Yes, we'll tell you about it later, dear.
Oh.
We've got to go back to camp as fast as we can. Better take that snake along, Professor, or bury it. If these natives...
We haven't time now. We've got to get back to camp.
But how on earth did we come away from
Don't
there?
ask questions now, Lorna. Be thankful we're all together.
Which way do we go? I'm all turned around.
Walk for moon, little Buana.
He says to follow the path of the moon.
That way? I'd have sworn it was any other way but that. We must have been going in circles.
We were. Lorna was heading right back to camp. Nguru, where did those other tracks leave Lorna's? Did you notice?
Nay, Buana. Snake him take a my.
We'll look for his tracks in the morning. I want to know who that bird is. Come on, let's get started.
Father, how can I? I haven't any boots on.
Oh, bless my soul, of course. I'd forgotten all about that.
I'll carry her, sir. You go on. We'll keep you in sight.
Yes, you go on with Nguru, Father. I want to talk to Jack.
All right. What are you doing, Jack?
Trying to measure the snake. He must be at least 24 feet long.
Yes, fine specimen. But if you want any help, call out. Come on, Nguru.
Aye, Buana.
Ready, Lorna?
Yes.
All right. Up you come. That's comfortable?
Of course it is. Oh, Jack, you don't have to tell me what happened. I've been putting things together since I woke up, and it's horrible. But I didn't want Father to be worried. That's why I said nothing before.
You're a brick, Lorna. Tell me what happened when you left us tonight and went to your tent?
Well, I experienced that same feeling again. You know, the one I was telling you about, like something calling me, urging me to walk out of camp.
Well, did you see anything? I mean, did you see anything out of place? Like someone snooping around your tent, a face in the bushes, or eyes looking at you?
Not a thing, Jack. I can't account for it. I fought the feeling off and went to bed, but while I was lying there, the thing persisted. It seemed to double in intensity. It's a terrible feeling, Jack. It seems to pull at the very roots of the brain.
Why didn't you call me, dear? You know where I was.
Yes, with Father. That's the reason I didn't call you. I hate to worry him. The thing is so intangible. I was afraid he'd think I was foolish.
But, Lorna, don't you realize if there's any witchcraft being worked around here, that your father's the right man to cope with it?
Yes, I suppose I should have told him. But he's so taken up with his plans, I hated to worry him.
Well, you don't have to tell him now. He knows all about it. Do you know, we found you sleepwalking earlier tonight.
What?
We took you back and roped you to the bed. You seemed to be sleeping soundly when we left you. And later, when we came to look, you were gone. The ropes hadn't been touched.
Jack, what in the world's happening to me? It all sounds like a magician's dream. Oh, I'm afraid. What's that?
Great Scott. I've forgotten all about those lions. Hold tight, we'll have to run for it. I guess we've got too far behind. Good gad.
What's the matter?
There are 2 lions standing in our path.
Oh.
They're between us and your father. See them?
Oh, yes. Fire a shot, Jack. Maybe it'll frighten them away.
I haven't a gun. Your father has the only one we brought.
What can we do?
I'll put you down. Now, if they start to charge, see that tree there?
Yes.
Well, if they come for us, you run for that tree and do the best climbing you've ever done.
But what about you? I can't leave you.
Hello! Stay to the tree! Your father's seen what's happened. Now, don't forget, if they charge, run. Look out, they're coming. Run, Lorna, run!
Truth is stranger than fiction. And this is the proof. This is Ripley's Believe It or Not.
In 1798, Sultan Selim III of Turkey, in the presence of British Ambassador Sir Robert Ainslie, shot an arrow the incredible distance of 2,916 feet. Believe it or not. In a moment, I'll tell you the story of a remarkable woman. Lucy Page of Tamworth, New Hampshire, certainly exploded the theory that women are the weaker sex. In addition to doing all of her regular housework, she cared for 2 cows, made all the clothing for her family, spun 200 skeins of wool yarn and 45 skeins of linen yarn, wove 90 yards of carpeting, made 69 yards of flannel and 21 yards of toweling. And she did all of this at the age of 73, believe it or not.
Truth is stranger than fiction. And this is the proof. This is Ripley's Believe It or Not.
In 1798, Sultan Selim III of Turkey, in the presence of British Ambassador Sir Robert Ainslie, shot an arrow the incredible distance of 2,916 feet. Believe it or not. In a moment, I'll tell you the story of a remarkable woman. Lucy Page of Tamworth, New Hampshire, certainly exploded the theory that women are the weaker sex. In addition to doing all of her regular housework, she cared for 2 cows, made all the clothing for her family, spun 200 skeins of wool yarn and 45 skeins of linen yarn, wove 90 yards of carpeting, made 69 yards of flannel and 21 yards of toweling. And she did all of this at the age of 73, believe it or not.
Ports of Call. far at the world's end, strange, fascinating lands beckon us, bid us revel in their exotic splendors. Come with us as we head for Ports of Call. From the dazzling crest of the Himalayas to the humid shores of the Indian Ocean stretches a timeless, mystic land, rich with the pattern of life through forgotten centuries. India. Its frontier, guarded by forbidding peaks, wears always the sense of brooding peril. In the midland deserts, dust clouds dance away from creaking primitive water wheels. The steaming lowland villages throb incessantly with the rhythm of native drums. Up and down over the forested roads of India, past glittering princes, peasants, half-naked holy men, soldiers. Elephants and tigers roam the jungles. Temples, mosques, shrines of 100 gods and half-gods crowd the cities and countryside. Teeming with life, prodigal of jewels and gold, land of fabulous wealth and of famine, India. Along India's northern border, the protective wall of the Himalayas is broken by the Khyber Pass, through which have poured the conquerors of her ancient civilization. Macedonians, Afghans, Mongols came, saw, conquered, and disappeared in the dust, while Mother India placidly endured. Then came the soldiers of the Crescent. 1536, under the Mohammedan Babur, the Muslim horde swept through the Khyber and founded the Mughal dynasty. The golden age of India had begun. Unequaled since the world began was the magnificence of the barbaric court of Delhi. A river of rubies, pearls, emeralds, and diamonds poured through the hands of the artisans, fashioning palaces and thrones of the great Moguls. And as tales of this splendor spread through the world, European nations began to covet India's opulence. In the year 1601, in the hall of private audience, the great Mughal Akbar has received an English emissary.
Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth of England, has granted a charter to the East India Company, and with its sole right of trading with all countries lying beyond the Cape of Good Hope or Straits of Magellan during a period of 15 years. In the name of Her Majesty, I venture to request your friendly acceptance of these trading merchants when they send their representatives to Delhi.
You may tell your queen, on whom be the blessing of Allah, that whatever can be done to promote commerce between England and India will be gladly done.
But instantly, feuds sprang up among the English, Dutch, and Portuguese traders. The East India Company hired and trained native soldiers to protect their interests. 1684. Charles II grants the East India Company a revised charter.
The East India Company is hereby granted the right to acquire territory in India, to coin money, to command fortresses and troops, to form alliances, to make war and peace, and to exercise civil and criminal jurisdiction over whatever territory they may in time possess.
Out to India then began the procession of adventurers, traders, soldiers of fortune, under the protection of the East India Company. Peasants looked up from their fields of rice to find they must pay taxes to the white sahibs. Meanwhile, in the desolate hills of Hyderabad, French and English traders alike had heard of a magic city, Golconda. Out of the jewel-studded earth came diamonds whose very names ring with romance and legend.
The great Mogul diamond, weight 787 carats.
The Orloff diamond, stolen from the eye of an idol in a Hindu temple, given to Catherine the Great by her lover, Prince Orloff.
The Kohinoor, worn by Mughal emperors, taken as loot by the Persian Nadir Shah, now in the scepter of England's king.
The Regent diamond, weight 410 carats.
Moon of the mountains, in the Russian crown jewel.
The Florentine diamond, among the crown jewels of Austria.
When Alauddin conquered the country, he took from the Hindu ruler Ramchandra 160 pounds of diamonds. Today, Golconda is empty. The great fortress still towers over the deserted city. On the height above, a tiny Hindu temple reminds men silently that only the gods endure. In ever-increasing splendor, the Mughal emperors reigned. Akbar moved the capital to Agra, built a great fortress with walls that shone like topaz. There, one day in the year 1605, he speaks with his eldest son, Selim.
My son, it has come to my ears that you still desire to marry the wife of an Afghan officer in the court. This rumor is false. I will have the Slanders tortured.
It is true, my father.
I have told you I will never permit her husband to divorce her, so you may add her to your Zanana.
You know that since I visited Lahore as a young prince, I have loved Zuriya. I was 15 then. Now I am 35.
It is unworthy of a Mughal prince to speak of enduring love for a woman.
When I command the Mahout to guide my elephant into the street that passes our windows, I am breathless with the knowledge that she may be watching from behind the lattices. The very air about her dwelling is perfumed with her spirit.
Enough! I am an old man. You will soon be ruler of India. I command you to put this woman out of your mind.
As well ask me to disregard the shining of the sun or the call of the muezzin to prayer. May Allah grant you many years of life, my father. But when the moment comes that I am emperor, I will have Zuriya. Nothing shall keep her from my arms.
Majesty.
Have you brought your sister Zuriya to the palace as I commanded Asaf Khan?
Yes, sire.
Where is she?
She was taken to the women's quarters to await your Majesty's summons.
You have done well, and you shall be rewarded.
Sire,
You have a favor to ask?
No, sire.
Do not fear to speak.
I hesitate to remind your Majesty that your father, on whom be the blessing of Allah, forbade your Majesty to bring my sister to the palace, and if...
My father is dead, may he rest in paradise. And I am no longer Prince Salim, but Emperor Jahangir.
Yes, Majesty.
Bring in the lady, Zuriya.
Yes, Majesty.
I will speak to her alone, Asaf Khan.
But, sire...
Silence. I will speak to her alone. Leave me with her when she comes.
Yes, sire.
Here is the lady, sire.
Bring her in. See that Asaf Khan has sherbet and cakes. Serve him in the garden.
Yes, Majesty.
I will summon you presently, Asaf Khan.
As you say, sire.
Beloved, no, do not kneel to me. It is I who should kneel to you. I have waited 20 years for this moment. I kiss your fingers.
Your Majesty, I will not call you Majesty, but Selim, as I did when we were children in Lahore. Oh, do you think me lacking in modesty?
I think you are everything that is lovely. For 20 years I have lived in darkness, and today, even though your eyes are veiled, they have brought me light.
Selim, say I shall belong to you forever.
Forever. And I shall call you Nur Jahan, light of the world. You shall not only be my wife, but the sharer of my throne, Empress of India.
And so Nur Jahan became the only queen of Islam ever to rule with her husband. At their death, Jahangir's son, Shah Jahan, comes to the throne, builds for his bride, Mumtaz Mahal, a palace exquisite as a fabric of a dream. In the Jasmine Tower of the palace, a few years later, he sits beside a window. His architect stands before him.
The very heart is gone from me. When I returned from the wars to find Mumtaz Mahal dying, I too longed for death. You have remembered my words to make her tomb beautiful as she was beautiful.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Tell me of your plans.
It will be a square structure of white marble. The center of the roof will be an alabaster dome. At each corner, a minaret. The great doors will be carved from translucent agate so the light will fall softly within. About the doorways, bands of flowers inlaid with jewels.
What of the interior?
The walls are to be of finely carved pure white marble with a tracery of jewels. And the dais on which the Mumtaz sarcophagus will be placed is to be paved with precious stones.
Swear by the 99 names of Allah that not one flower carved in this tomb shall ever be repeated.
I swear it, sire.
It is well. The work shall begin at once on the Taj Mahal.
Now the years are moving swiftly. The Mughal Empire weakens, but the great East India Company grows ever more powerful. Every trading post is fortified. Companies of native troops, officered by Englishmen, are at its command. Among these is Robert Clive, young company clerk turned soldier. June 1756. The East India Company's governor in Calcutta receives the ruler of Lower Bengal, Suraj ad-Dowlah.
You say this relative of yours has come to Calcutta?
It is true, Sahib. Marked for my vengeance, he escaped from my palace and has claimed protection in your fort. Give him to me. I will have him torn to bits and trampled by elephants before my eyes.
I'm afraid I'll have to refuse to surrender him to you.
But he is my cousin, and he is marked for my vengeance.
Nevertheless, he's under my protection here, and I can't turn him over to you to be killed.
I demand his release.
And I refuse.
By all the gods, this shall never be forgotten as long as one stone of Calcutta remains upon another.
The city is being attacked with a measure of vengeance. I send out Udawa. I order all English people in Calcutta to take refuge on the ships lying at anchor in the harbor. They will sail down the river until the danger is over. Take your families and go.
There's goings on in the city you'd not believe. Will you come, Captain Clive?
Of course. We'll make a forced march through the jungle. Here, sit there and rest. We'll take you back with us.
Through the steaming jungle in the deadly tropical heat, Clive leads his army to the relief of Calcutta and captures the city. He sets up headquarters at the garrison.
There's a wounded Hindu out here, sir. Seems to be trying to tell us something.
Where is he?
Here, sir.
They're coming.
You never get him to talk. But here comes Captain Clive. What
is he? Let me get down there.
White Sahib.
Yes.
Mem Sahib. Prisoner.
Prisoners? Where?
Prisoners?
We saw no prisoners.
Jackson. Yes, sir.
Where are prisoners kept in this fort?
Across the court there, sir. But there's only been a small garrison here. The guardroom's only about 20 feet square. There can't be many prisoners in it. Besides, they'd have called out to us when we took the fort.
Come on, let's see. All right, now. Be quick, men. Take down the bars.
Yes, sir. There's a lock besides, sir.
Yeah, we'll have to break it. Who's in there?
There can't be anyone in there, sir. Lead on, sir, you.
There you are, sir. It's broken. Pull the door open. My God.
Oh, they must have been wedged right up against the door, so they fell out when we opened it, sir.
Oh, what
devils those Hindus are.
Are the prisoners all dead, sir?
Yes, yes, of course they must be. We'll bring them here for examination. Listen, there's a woman in there alive. Let's get them out quickly.
Oh, it's like a furnace, sir. I'll be surprised if any of them are alive. The room's packed solid with them. They couldn't even fall over when they died. Yes, sir.
Easy there. Give her water. Here, I'll take her. Now, you men get the rest of them out there. Here, drink this.
Oh, so hot.
That's...
I can't breathe.
Now, you're going to be all right. Yes, you can. There, that's better. Try and talk now.
The boats had gone.
Yes.
We...
Yes,
they
you're all right.
forced us all into that room last night.
Devils. Tell me, were you the only woman?
No. Oh, there are 10 of us. Are they all dead?
We don't know yet.
3 more women alive, sir, and 19 men. And there were 146 put in that black hole last night.
The black hole of Calcutta will spell the end of the Suraj Uddaula.
Coldly, steadily, Clive takes up the trail of Suraj Uddaula. One stifling morning in June 1757, in the port of Calcutta, Mir Jafar, a follower of Suraj Uddaula, calls on Captain Clive.
Well, Mir Jafar, so you're willing to betray him. Are there many French troops at Plassey?
I do not know how many French soldiers there are, but Suraj Uddaula has told me he has 35,000 foot soldiers and 15,000 horsemen. There are also 50 cannons. I must have money before I go.
I'll give you part of the money now, part of it when the battle's over. Will you wait outside while I send for the money?
As you say, Sahib. There will be no trickery.
No trickery. No trickery. Marshal!
Yes, sir. You're not going to trust him, sir?
Never fear. I've known Mir Jafar for a long time. If it wasn't for his fear of torture, he'd have quit fighting long ago.
But we have only 3,000 men, and 2,000 of them are sepoys.
Yes, they are. But don't forget the element of surprise. Send the sergeant major to me.
Yes, sir.
And after that, the clerk. Tell him I shall want 10,000 pounds.
Yes, sir.
Stay down behind the mudbank, Dixon. We'll have no chance if we get out where they can reach us.
But it's nearly noon, sir. And this has been going on since 6 this morning. They're done for, in my opinion, sir.
Oh, no, we're not. You wait and see.
What's happened, sir? They've ceased firing.
They've stopped to eat their dinner. They always do. Now's our time. They'll never suspect we'd attack in this awful heat.
What? Now, sir?
Now. Your places. At the guns, men. Over the bank. Seize the outpost. Storm the camp.
The victory of Clive at Plassey makes the East India Company the ruling power of India. Native states fall into its hands. Native armies police the towns and trading stations. As the years go by, native insurrection flares, is quelled by stern measures. Then a British law is passed prohibiting the burning of widows with their husbands' bodies and the killing of girl babies under the old caste ritual. Hindus are outraged. In the year 1857, the governor of Calcutta talks with General Hearsay, a native officer.
Now, General, what's the trouble about the cartridges?
As you know, Your Excellency, with our muzzle-loading muskets, the cartridge end must be bitten off, releasing the powder into the barrel.
Yes, well?
The cartridge ends are greased, and yesterday a high-caste soldier was taunted by a low-caste sepoy with being defiled because he had put into his mouth the fat of cows and pigs.
Good Lord.
Do you wonder I say I'm sitting on a powder mine, Your Excellency?
No. General Hearsay, there's only one thing to be done. Pass the word among your officers that hereafter only clarified butter will be used to grease the cartridges. And the men may grease them themselves if they wish. Will that satisfy them?
I can only tell them. But if word of this has begun to spread, it will go like wildfire. Coupled with the new laws, it may cause a holy war that will drench India with blood.
Go then, do what you can.
But the harm was done.
Down with the white side.
They have defiled us all.
Avenge Hindu honor.
Down with them.
They have defiled us.
Avenge our honor.
Mutiny. Mutiny.
Mutiny.
Mutiny. Mutiny.
Mutiny. Mutiny. Mutiny. Mutiny.
Across India from Delhi to Calcutta, the native troops rise in revolt. European men, women, and children die in India's holy war. The red pages of our history are filled with the names of cities where Englishmen, sick, wounded, starving, hopelessly outnumbered, somehow cling to the beleaguered garrisons. Delhi, Agra, Cawnpore, Lucknow, 2 years of horror and death. Not until 1859 does the mutiny end. A few months later, at Delhi, in the midst of a grand durbar, glittering with all the pomp and splendor that is India's, Lord Canning reads a proclamation.
India is declared a possession of the British Crown, and Her Majesty Queen Victoria hereby grants amnesty to all who engaged in the mutiny, save only those who murdered British subjects. God save the Queen!
So begins modern India, where side by side with British dominions are the feudal states, owing allegiance to the crown, but ruled by native princes who live in the incredible luxury of the past. In 1896, a great drought ravages the country. Hundreds of thousands of peasants starve to death. Agitators blame British misrule. In 1914, the Great War sends thousands of natives beyond the seas. They return to raise afresh the cries against their British masters. In 1920, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi speaks to the people in the streets of the cities.
People of Bombay, you have suffered too long under the injustice of British domination. It is time for India to be free. To protest to the British Raj is to accomplish nothing. So we must begin a campaign of non-resistance that will force the tyrannous English to set India free.
Tell us what to do.
All government service must be boycotted. If any of you hold public office, surrender it. Withdraw your children from the British schools. Cease to use articles of British manufacture. Take up your discarded spinning wheels. Make Indian cloth for Indian people. If you do this, 1 year from today, India will be free.
The unlettered people believe Gandhi to be a saint, give him the title of Mahatma, great soul. But as he postpones the date of India's liberation again and again, his fiery Mohammedan followers begin to leave him. In 1922, he is arrested.
You are charged with conspiring to spread disaffection among the people, with a view to overthrowing the government. How do you plead?
I am guilty. I accept full responsibility for any acts the people have committed.
You are sentenced to 6 years in jail.
Released after serving less than 2 years, Mahatma Gandhi finds his power has waned. He takes up the cause of the untouchables, lowest of all the countless castes in India. Affronted by this challenge of their ancient law, Hindus forsake him. With his power to sway the masses goes his influence. Only a few faithful followers still believe him to be the savior of India. Today, native princes unite with British statesmen and diplomats, seeking to find a government for India that will reconcile the age-old antagonisms of race and creed dividing the crowding masses of her people. Let us catch our last glimpse of India from the harbor of Calicut, little-known city at the southern tip of the continent, fragrant with the scent of cinnamon, cloves, and ginger. From here, in 1631, went the first shipment of that cotton cloth named for the city, calico. In the thronged streets of Hindu turbans and the saffron robes of Buddhist monks, mingle as always with the sketchy garments of pearl fishers, whose tatters may conceal a gem worthy of a Raja's crown. The whistle blows, and we're homeward bound once more from another journey to ports of call. Invite you to join us again next week at this time as we journey to another of the world's fascinating ports of call.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please. The Mutual Broadcasting System presents Quiet Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper. Quiet Please tonight is called In the House Where I Was Born. Another year, and I've come back to the house where I was born. Every year I do it, just before Decoration Day. It's pleasant, then here. Everybody ought to go back once a year to the house where he was born. Just look around and remember. And then change them. The house where I was born is old. Then the old porch is gone. The big bay window where I used to sit and watch the snow on winter afternoons. And the wooden steps go straight up from the sidewalk to the big double front door. The house was painted red when I lived there. Red with white trimming. There was a big caladium plant in the front yard. Elephant ears, my grandmother used to call it. You remember those things? My brother and I used to pull them and make umbrellas out of them. Grandma's jaw still our ears hurt. Can't even tell now where the Caladians were. In the old woodshed that 2 generations of us had carved our initials on. I remember CDO 1884. And my brother's initials 1905. And all the others. That's gone too. And there was a dog, little brown and white fox terrier. Her name was Trixie, wasn't it? So many years ago. Here was the living room. The sitting room, we called it. The round oak-based burner with the isinglass in the doors where the cook. The towel table with the cracked marble top where the lamp sat. The round lamp with the yellow silk shade. And my brother and I reading the Hirely Maze and wishing we too could be big league baseball players. And on a spring night like this, Mother, sitting at the rosewood organ under the picture, playing Battle Hymn of the Republic, and there'll be a hot time in the old town, for the Spanish War wasn't so long ago. And my father, Sergeant Major, hadn't come back from Chickamauga. In the scent of white lilac, scent of white lilac whiskey was his pride, is long gone. But I can smell the white lilac tonight. And I was on the pavement outside. The pavement they put down the year I started it. But in the old room, a glow comes slowly to life. And there, cheerfully across the ruffled carpet, and I'm the little boy who looks up at her and plucks at her dress and face. Mama.
Mama, tell me a story. What shall I tell you about tonight, son? Isn't it almost time for bed? Story first, Mama, please. Well, let me. The stag at eve had jumped his hill where danced the moon on Moaning Rill. This his midnight lair had made, and dark monotonous we were seen. What's Moaning Rill, Mama? Why, it's a little brook, a little creek, way up in Scotland and Scotland, where Roger Peel lives. Well, why did they call it Moaning Rill, Mama? Why, I suppose it was named after somebody named Moaning, son. I suppose it's a very tiny little brook, where the water is ever so cold, and comes down all the way from the very top of the mountains through the glorious castles of where the Coolies live. And I suppose not very many people know where Moaningsville really is, because it's very probably guarded by them. And I don't think they like people to come and drink at their rill. But they do let the stag come every night, and that is if he wants to, and then he goes away. And the little people rise on his back wherever he goes. And then they wake him up in the morning and he takes them back to the rill. Does Moaning come there, too? Oh, I don't think so. Moaning's gone from there ever so many and many years ago. Doesn't anybody ever see him? No. Doesn't anybody know him even? I guess not. That's awful. Yes, it is, isn't it? That's just about the awfulest thing that could happen, isn't it? What, son? Not having anybody know you. Why, I hadn't thought of that. But... Mama. Are you good? Uh-huh. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath have stood. He hath loosed the faithful lightning of his servants restored. His truth is marching.
Grandmother's song fades, and the light grows dim, and I am in darkness again in the house where I was born. And this house where I was born is in a great city, and the wide streets are filled with crowds of people. And I remember again so many things. The thunder of the elevated railways overhead on a brisk afternoon in the autumn. And the open streetcar clanging its way up the street. My father pointing and telling me that that's the last trip of the open streetcars up Broadway till next summer. And a friendly policeman in a round-topped helmet spanking me jovially with his nightstick as we crossed the plaza on the way to the Central Park Zoo. And the house where I was born. Weary and happy in the crisp evening, climbing the brownstone steps into a high-ceilinged house with a fireplace in the front room, and a great stairway and a long, inviting banister, and a cat with a blue ribbon for a collar and the longest, sharpest claws in the world, and a telephone that you could talk even to Brooklyn with. The house where I was born. And now, a sign on the front alongside the tall doors. A sign that says Swedish Restaurant. Then, still in the concrete sidewalk at the foot of the steps, the prints of my 2 shoes that I could span with a hand. Then my initials. And the date. 1901. And I turn away from this house where I was born. For I have not done with my homeward journey yet. In the house where I was born, there is not one stone upon another. For the path of war led across its dooryard, and destruction followed for all the people who dwelt in it. But the scent of lilacs is strong in the evening air even here. And before my eyes the scene of desolation dims, and the house where I was born lives again. And it is a spring evening. There seems to be music in the air. And I feel happiness again as I felt it that night when I first brought home my bride. What was her name? Have I forgotten?
Carry me across the threshold, my love.
Oh, darling, this is home.
A fine home, a wonderful home.
My people have lived here.
Since the 30 Years' War, you have told me that.
They don't build houses like this anymore, my love. See the wall.
On the stone from the quarry over there.
And the mortar. Why, there's my great-great-great-grandfather's blood in that.
I know. He drew blood from his own arm and spilled it into the mortar so that there would always be something of him in the house.
Well, it was also a charm, you know. The witch woman.
I know. He paid us 3 silver pieces to tell him what to do to make the house stand forever.
Well, how do you know so much about it?
You have told me so many times.
Oh, so I have. And real glass in the windows, too.
And the straw with the hand-painted tiles.
There's not another one like it in the whole village.
And it's ours.
And we'll take it to America when we go.
Oh, dearest, do you really want to go to America?
Why, of course I do. You do, too, don't you?
Could we not be happy here, we two?
Why, we could be happy anywhere. But in America...
Oh, no, we will be rich, and I'll have 2 dresses, and someday we'll have a motor car even, but...
But what?
It is so far from this house where you have been born in, and where I hoped our children would be born.
Then the scent of lilacs is strong again in the air, as the voice of a beloved woman fades away into shadow and forgetfulness. And the house where I was born is swallowed up in the night. And I am alone again. And the house where I was born is adobe shack somewhere in the Panhandle. And the wide plains of the west stretch away endlessly beyond it. Now the corral gate is broken. The bunkhouse roof is gone. Horned toads squat on the decrepit porch where I played cowboy and Indian. I look above the door, and the brand is still there. The brand that looks in the early darkness like Rafter A, but might be 2 up and 2 down, or a running W. And there's a dry, dusty smell about the place, and an echo of almost forgotten songs quivers on the air. For the Chisholm Trail went past our place, all the way from Belton up to the North Fork of the Canadian and Abilene. I've seen white-faced ballers by the thousands go past our gate. Heard the riders' voices in the hot noon, the long moonless nights.
I'm going to throw the hills and walk.
And the long, slow song of horses' hoofs is music to the ears of a lost, forgotten Texan who'll never come back to stay to the house where he was born, to lay flowers on the grave up there on the little hill under the cottonwood tree. And the house where I was born is a sod-roofed cottage in the peat bog country of Ireland. Then I'm 19 and returned for a visit with the old folks after 3 years in America, where I'd become all Yankee. And my brother and I sit before the door, talk at evening about the strangeness of the new world and its customs, the customs of other people beyond the various seas. And it is this very day, 34 years ago, in 1914.
And I'm betting you there'll be war in Europe before the year is out, my lad.
That's just talk.
Just talk started every war the world has ever seen. Kaiser Bill is just waiting for somebody to set the world alight. And it's many a good lad will come to his end putting it out.
Well, we'll never get in it.
I mean, the Americans?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Well, we're too far away. Let the English and the Germans fight it out.
All very well to say. But you'll see.
Well, you won't go.
Oh, I'm not so sure about that either.
Fight for the English?
Oh, I wouldn't like that very much, sure enough. But there's some very good Irish regiments in the British Army. The Enniskillen Fusiliers, the Royal Irish Rifles, the Dublin Fusiliers.
You stay out of it. Well, you can't go and leave the old folks alone?
No, if I was as young as you now, I'd...
Cut it out. Well, you talk as if war's just around the corner.
Well, that's just exactly what I think, too.
Well, all right. But I'll be back in the States long before your war arrives. Yeah, I'll stay there, too. And I left the house where I was born, the smoky, damp little hut beside the road to the sea. And I've not seen it again, save when it comes Decoration Day time and I go back, unbeknownst to my brother. Look in the door to where he sits, an old man puffing his pipe, alone by the peat fire. And once, it was long years ago, the village priest sat with him. And I heard my brother.
If my brother'd have come back from the war, he was a fine young lad, Father. Him and me, we could have done something with the place. But now, it's too late.
And there was a day on the ranch in the Texas Panhandle when a tall young man in Levi's and high-heeled boots saddled and bridled a horse, said goodbye to an old man, shook hands with a half-dozen cowhands and a Mexican cook, rode away toward the railroad that was to be the first lap of a long, long journey. And I remember I turned and looked back at the house where I was born. And someone was singing an old song.
I find a young wrapped up in one.
And here again, in the house where I was born, I stand again beside the walls of stone mortared with the blood of my great-great-great-grandfather, and in my arms, I hold a weeping woman.
Don't go and leave me.
But it'll be only a little while, my dearest. Only till I can earn enough money to send.
I'll never see you again.
Oh, but you will. America really isn't so far away.
Across the sea, across the sea,
Yeah, we've been through all this before. Now be reasonable. In 6 months, a year. Don't, darling.
Let us stay here, both of us. This is our home. This is the house where you were born.
Look at me, love. I love you. It will be such a little while. You will come to America. We'll be so happy. It's such a little time to wait. You know it is.
I love you. Kiss me.
And I kissed her. And I went away. And I have never again seen the house where I was born, except in dreams. Dreams such as this dream tonight, when the ruins lift and form themselves for a little moment in the darkness. She came to America. And the day she arrived, I was drafted. I was never able to find her again. But then, she was never able to find me either. In the house where I was born, there is no memory left of me. Only the two prints of a child's shoes in the concrete remain as a memorial that I once lived. The house where I was born has forgotten me. And the house where I was born, where my little brother and I played in the Caladium bed, it has almost forgotten me, too. There is a pack of yellowed letters somewhere in the house, lost behind a beam in the attic, maybe. The pack of yellowed letters with soldier's mail in the place where the stamp should go. And my name and an APO number in the other corner. The letters are full of names like Albert, Le Somme, Chatoncourt, Dead Man's Hill, Consenvoy, Brabant. Names like the faded letters on an ancient palimpsest, obscured by newer names written over them. Omaha Beach, Bastogne, Okinawa. They are all names of places where men have died. And one day, they'll all be forgotten. Please God. I remember one of those names, those first names. I won't tell you the name of the town, a clean little town it was once with red-roofed houses, a dirty shambles in October 1918. I couldn't hear the shells from the 77s bursting in the streets. I couldn't hear what the chaplain was saying to me. I could just see a dirty-faced man in a helmet moving his lips as he bent over me. It was very quiet and very lonely. I didn't even hear the shell that killed him and the other man that was standing alongside him. It was quiet for a long, long time. And then I heard a little boy's voice. And I said to myself, why, I'm home. That's my voice. That night before decoration so many years ago. And it was.
Mama, tell me a story.
What shall I tell you about, son?
Story, Mama.
Dad, Ransom, and we will see.
What's morning drill, Mama? I'm going to
There's not very many people know Morning Drill yet.
Across the sea. Across the sea. It's just about the awfulest thing in the world, Mama, not having anybody know you.
They set a marble tomb above my shattered self, seeking to do me honor thus, to recompense the searing days, the crawling nights I died in. He lies here deep, the graven letters say. He lies here deep, unknown to all save God. Oh, sweet it is, they say. Oh, sweet it is to die the battle death. Yes, it is sweet. As gall is sweet, and wormwood, so is death. I died. I felt the bitter fire and the cleaving steel, the pain. I am content. Yet I am weary in my sentiments. The sleep of death is not so very deep. Lately the spring has come, and yesterday a tiny root of some green thing has split the stones apart wherein I lie. Its tender questing fingers seek my hand, as mine sought flowers on some yesterday forgot. Above my head, the hushed clang of arms, the measured tread of sentinels that guard my bed, forbid me sleep. My face is dim in eternity now. But once you knew me. Perhaps you wept to hear that Sergeant Death had spoke my name. Is it you that I hear through the dust, oh my brother? Is it your little song that I hear, oh my mother? I, in my tomb of marble, I in my tomb of stone. I am the chief of them all. I am the chief of the dead. I died, and dying became a mystery. To every mother, her son. To every brother, his brother. To every soldier, his comrade. I, the chief of the dead. I was content to lie here masked in uncertainty, having the homage of all of you here in my marble tomb. I was content, I say. Yet now spring comes again as I saw it once before that day I died. Is it your hand that rests on the stone, oh my sister? Is it your tear that falls on the stone, oh my wife? I hear the trumpets now, the volleys sound, the sabers flash against the sun. I may not know. I may not rise. I have my duty here alone. I, in my tomb of marble. I, in my tomb of stone. I am the chief of them all. I am the chief of the dead. Quiet, please. The tonight was called In the House Where I Was Born. It was written and directed by Willis Cooper, and Ernest Chappell was the man who spoke here. Others in the cast were Lotta Stinder, Cecil Roy, Betty Raggy, and Jay Pepper. Special music for that piece is composed and played by Mr. Berman. Now, next week.
Obviously, all the characters in tonight's story, except the principal one, are completely fictitious. Make this story talk a little bit further.
And so, until next week at the same time, quietly yours, Ernest Chappell. This is Mutual Broadcasting System.
Thanks for joining us. We hope that you'll always be a listener to Sunday Night with Old Time Radio. We broadcast from 8 to 11 p.m. Central Time every Sunday. Please come and join us and enjoy the best of the golden age of radio and some modern productions, too. Until next time, sleep tight. This is a production of Lobato Studios. Sao Paulo, Brazil.